Damn it, no wonder the demonic shadow relapsed. Who the hell is it?
You better hope I don't catch you, or I'll dig up your ancestors and have a word with them. This was terrible news. It meant he was being targeted, and someone had already started to move against him. Bai Yu's desire to leave the Demon Ceiling Pagoda grew even more urgent. To leave the Demon Ceiling Pagoda, he had to earn points of full 10,000 demon hunting points. Thinking of this, Bai Yu didn't dare to linger. He took several large detours before finally arriving at the Demon Royal Mausoleum. In the distance, pyramid-shaped tombs stood in the middle of a basin. The tombs were constructed entirely of obsidian demon stone, and carved around them were profound and eerie demonic face runes. The obsidian demon stone alone could withstand the attack of a 7th-level cultivator. But what shocked Bai Yu the most was that there were actually demonic beasts guarding the royal tombs. And according to his senses, it was a mid-grade purple demon. The demon city was already facing annihilation, yet the guards here hadn't all left. A mid-grade purple demon's combat power could crush a mid-stage golden core cultivator. This was big trouble. Bai Yu had expended immense effort just to reach the demon tombs, only to find a mid-grade purple demon guarding them. If he wanted to raid the tombs, he first had to deal with this purple demon. But a head-on confrontation was undoubtedly suicide. Bai Yu suppressed his aura to the absolute limit, his mind racing. Suddenly, a strange smile appeared on his lips. I can't beat it in a one-on-one fight, but I can call for backup, can't I? He silently retreated a few miles away and then undid the 8-gate seal in his mind. Almost at the same instant, a ball of spiritual light flew from Sovereign Lai Hua's hand, transforming into the shape of a fire ant. The fire ant made a found him sound. Sovereign Lai Hua was overjoyed. The kid has finally reappeared. He must have used some kind of sealing talisman before, and now its power has run out. He didn't even have time to order his men, simply tapping his foot on the flying shuttle and leading his subordinates in a swift departure.
Kid, let's see where you run this time.
On the outskirts of the demon mausoleum, Bai Yu stood still, waiting quietly. He pushed his wind-listening ear to its limit. Within a 100-mile radius, not a single gust of wind could escape his senses. Finally, he heard the sound of something tearing through the air from the south. They're finally here. He once again dove into the ground, heading toward the demon mausoleum. But halfway there, he reactivated the 8-gate seal, isolating the demonic shadow in his mind. Then he made a turn and done 10 miles to the east. Not long after, a red flying shuttle shot over. Sovereign Lai Hua hovered in mid-air. He went into the ground again. Search for him. He must be nearby, he couldn't have gone far. However, his commotion immediately alerted the demonic beast in the mausoleum. A cloud of yellow poisonous smoke shot into the sky, revealing a 3-eyed purple demon within. It lunged ferociously at Sovereign Lai Hua. Sovereign Lai Hua was shocked. How is there a purple demon here? Could that unlucky bastard have been swallowed alive by it? He brandished a 3-colored fan, fanning up raging flames that swept toward the purple demon. Although Sovereign Lai Hua had deep connections with demonic beasts, he had no relationship whatsoever with the ones in this minor demon realm. On the contrary, these demonic beasts were merely his prey. Instantly, Sovereign Lai Hua and the 3-eyed purple demon were locked in battle. One side spewed roaring flames, the other billowed poisonous gas, fighting inextricably. The 3-eyed purple demon was incredibly fierce, the vertical eye on its forehead shooting out rays of poison light, actually forcing Sovereign Lai Hua into a retreat. Sovereign Lai Hua grew anxious and shouted, "What are you all standing there for? Quickly, form the 5-directional demon subduing formation and take down this purple demon together." Yi Ya and the others hurriedly formed a formation, each brandishing a sword of a different color: green, yellow, black, white, and red. The 5 swords formed a sword array, flying up and down around the 3-eyed purple demon, launching a relentless barrage of attacks. Seizing the opportunity, Sovereign Lai Hua released a scroll. Painted on it was a vermilion bird. This was a demon-repelling treasure.
The vermilion bird flew out of the painting, wreathed in roaring flame, and charged at the 3-eyed purple demon.
With the support of the formation and the demon-repelling treasure, Sovereign Lai Hua finally turned the tide. For a time, the 3-eyed purple demon was at a disadvantage, its body slashed with numerous wounds as it roared in fury. Deep underground, Bai Yu pricked up his ears, listening intently to the commotion in the sky. He thought to himself, from the sounds of it, the purple demon is at a disadvantage. I need to move faster. Otherwise, if the purple demon is defeated, its corpse will fall into the hands of those humans. With a thought, he silently dove into the heart of the demon mausoleum and began to get busy. Half an hour later, a deafening explosion echoed from the sky. A blood-red glow illuminated half the heavens, and poisonous smoke billowed in all directions. Sovereign Lai Hua, looking disheveled, emerged from the smoke with Yi Ya. His other 4 subordinates were nowhere to be seen. Haha. That damned poison demon was too damn fierce. It actually tried to take me down with it in the end. At this moment, Sovereign Lai Hua was also bleeding, clearly having suffered considerable injuries. While hastily stuffing healing pills into his mouth, he surveyed his surroundings. I've struck it rich. This is a demon clan's burial ground. Yi seized the chance to flatter him. Lord Lai Hua, your fortune is boundless. This is a gift from the heavens. These tombs look so magnificent, the burial goods inside must be incredibly valuable. Sovereign Lai Hua also laughed. We'll dig them up. The corpses inside can be exchanged for a large sum of demon hunting points. Then we can give Fei Peng and the others' families a generous compensation. Yi chimed in again. Lord Lai Hua, you are benevolent and kind-hearted. It was Fei Peng and the other three's fortune to die for you. I envy such a blessing. Sovereign Lai Hua said, good. Then I'll give you this opportunity. Go to the center of the mausoleum and see if there are any other demonic beasts. If there are, lure them out so we can deal with them all at once. Yi froze. Ah. He was just trying to flatter him. Who knew he'd end up shooting himself in the foot? As he hesitated, Sovereign Lai Hua's eyes narrowed, a murderous glint in them. What?
You were unwilling?
Were you just bullshitting me? Yi trembled with fear and shakily walked toward the central area of the mausoleum. He now finally understood why Sovereign Lai Hua was willing to accept others into his team. They were all cannon fodder. Bai Shi and Fei Peng were dead, and now it was his turn. Yi cursed himself for being so foolish as to think he could relax after latching onto a golden core expert. He cautiously entered the central area of the mausoleum and, after checking around, finally relaxed. Lord Lai Hua, it's safe.
You can come over.
Sovereign Lai Hua was about to move forward, but suddenly stopped. First, use that Qiang technique. The so-called Qiang technique was the children's song Bai Yu had taught Yi. Because its final syllables sounded a bit like the demonic language, it had a certain effect of attracting demonic beasts. With a pained expression, Yi reluctantly began to sing.
Two tigers, falling in love, falling in love.
Both are male, both are male.
So perverse, so perverse.
He even jumped around like a shaman performing a ritual, wiggling his hips like a possessed woman. After the whole performance, there was no movement from the surroundings. Sovereign Lai Hua breathed a sigh of relief and flew to the center of the mausoleum. Hurry up and open these tombs. Let's see what good stuff is inside. At the same time, Bai Yu, hidden underground, revealed a triumphant smile. He silently counted down in his mind. 3, 2, 1. Boom. A world-shaking explosion erupted. Dazzling firelight engulfed Yi and Sovereign Lai Hua. A terrifying blast swept through the entire burial ground, and the blinding flame swallowed Sovereign Lai Hua. It was the blazing flame rockets showing their power. The rockets invented by Lao Mo were sound-activated, and he had deliberately extended their detonation time. Bai Yu had planted 5 of them in the center of the burial ground. Sovereign Lai Hua was instantly submerged in a sea of flames. He had already been severely injured by the purple demon, and now, being hit by the blazing flame rockets, his injuries were compounded. Bai Yu would naturally not let this opportunity slip. When dealing with a golden core expert, there could be no holding back. If you don't strike, you don't strike, but when you do, it must be like thunder. With a flick of his hand, hundreds of talismans activated instantly, mercilessly smashing down. Golden spear talismans, explosion talismans, fire dragon talismans. He himself charged into the sea of flames like the wind, his dragon-slaying blade humming. His entire body's gang chi converged. However, only then did he see a silver python coiled around Sovereign Lai Hua's body. The python was dripping with blood, its scales blown off, even revealing white bone. But it had blocked the majority of the talisman attacks. The arrow was already knocked. Bai Yu didn't hesitate, swinging his blade. His gang chi roared like thunder. With one slash, Song Sheng the dragon-slaying blade, carrying a bloody light, struck down ferociously. The silver python was already at the end of its strength and was instantly severed in 2. The incomparably sharp dragon-slaying blade slashed toward Sovereign Lai Hua. However, at that moment, flames erupted from Sovereign Lai Hua's right arm, turning the entire limb crimson gold.
Melting goldand.
His right arm was as fast as lightning, actually managing to catch the dragon-slaying blade. The crimson flame spread onto the blade, and the dragon-slaying blade, forged from cloud iron, actually began to melt. A mere foundation-building cultivator dares to attack me?
You truly don't know this.
Sovereign Lai Hua pointed with his left hand, and a 3-colored feather fan flew out. With a single flap, a torrent of flames engulfed Bai Yu, burning him to a pile of ash. A mocking smile appeared on Sovereign Lai Hua's lips. Even if I'm seriously injured, I'm not someone a mere foundation-building cultivator can kill. The gap between golden core and foundation building is a celestial chasm. However, just then, in the shadow behind Sovereign Lai Hua, a figure suddenly emerged. This was Bai Yu's true body. The one just now was merely a demonic shadow clone. Bai Yu raised a finger, and a 5-colored bolt of lightning shot through the air. The minor divine ability, the 5-colored thunder whip. At such a close distance, even a golden core sovereign couldn't dodge in time. He could only gather a golden protective light in front of him. Boom.
A loud explosion rang out.
Sovereign Lai Hua's protective light shattered like thin paper. The 5-colored lightning struck his body, and half of him was instantly turned to charcoal. But a golden core was a golden core. Even so, he wasn't dead. The spiritual light on his body surged as he shot into the sky. At the same time, he formed a seal with his right hand, summoning his magic treasure, the three-colored feather fan, to counterattack Bai Yu. Bai Yu's figure flickered again, appearing at Sovereign Lai Hua's side.
Wind Demon 9 Revolution. Fifth Revolution.
A bloody light erupted from his body, and his aura instantly surged several times over. His right arm swelled like an inflatable, veins popping like coiling dragons.
Demon Star Fist.
He threw a punch, a force of a full 800,000 catties instantly slamming into Sovereign Lai Hua. His body twisted like a noodle in water. His lower body was directly blown apart, and from now on, he could only speak nonsense. His eyes bulged, almost popping out of their sockets. To his horror, he found that the true yuan he had just gathered was instantly dispersed. Even the golden core inside him was shaken. Bai Yu gave him no time to think. He delivered punch after punch, relentlessly hammering Sovereign Lai Hua. Even a golden core expert, I'll kill you for all to see.
Tose Wu arme me shell die. Tose Wu bloque mai passe shell die.
In the sky, Sovereign Lai Hua was like a sandbag, being brutally pummeled by Bai Yu. He who kills shall himself be killed. Finally, Bai Yu threw a final, powerful punch.
Bang!
Sovereign Lai Hua exploded into a shower of blood and gore, even his golden core directly shattered. A mighty golden core sovereign was beaten to death by Bai Yu. Without hesitation, Bai Yu released his martial soul, Hao Han, and directly pulverized Sovereign Lai Hua's remains.
Corpse melting water, soul extinguishing melody, cleansing blood Buddha.
After this series of procedures, Sovereign Lai Hua completely vanished from the world, as if he had never existed. On the other side, a figure suppressed its aura, trying to slip away unnoticed. It was Yiya. He had survived this long in the demon sealing pagoda thanks to his own trump cards. He had cultivated a secret art that could forcefully stimulate his life force to rapidly heal his injuries. That's why he had managed to survive the explosion of the blazing flame rockets. He was now 100 yards from the battlefield, on the verge of escape. However, a black dog blocked his path. It was Lao Mo Bai Yu also descended from the sky, looking down coldly at Yiya. A chill ran from the soles of Yiya's feet to the top of his head. He had personally witnessed this man beat a golden core sovereign to death. He was like a god of slaughter descended to the mortal realm. Even if Sovereign Lai Hua was seriously injured, he was still a golden core sovereign. He took a deep breath, forcing himself to calm down. You're Wu Chang, aren't you? I never expected you to be so powerful. My mind must have been clouded by lard to even think of competing with a god of slaughter like you. Bai Yu's current appearance was that of a demonic beast, but Lao Mo was unmistakable, so Yiya naturally recognized him. Bai Yu said flatly, I'll give you two choices. First, since we've met, I can give you a proper burial. Second, I can chop you up and feed you to my dog. Yiya looked at Bai Yu and took a deep breath.
Can you preserver mai sous l'endlet me incarnate?
Bai Yu said flatly, what do you think? Yiya's eyes dimmed. He was now heavily injured and couldn't even defeat an ordinary cultivator, let alone the god of slaughter who had just beaten a golden core to death. Yiya sighed longly. Forget it. It was my own jealousy that led to this fate. I choose the first option. At least I can be buried in peace. Striving for fame and fortune for lifetimes, only to lose my life to greed and anger. With that, he shattered his own heart meridians with a palm strike and died on the spot. Bai Yu first cut off Yiya's head, then used his martial soul, Hao Han, to refine him into a pile of ashes. He summoned a fireball, smashed a large pit in the ground, and buried Yiya in it.
The mournful sound of Asiona Shoed.
He had buried his former mahjong partner. Burial successful.
Reward obtained, Earth Spirit route +7, Life Experience +3,850,000.
Optional rewards, Earthen Star Art, Earth Strengthening Technique, Wood Linking Absolute, Spiritual G Cultivation, Withered Wood Rejuvenation. Burial Participation, 71%. An additional reward can be selected. Bai Yu glanced over the options. Yiya had dual earth and wood spirit roots, and his techniques and spells were all earth and wood-based. But for Bai Yu, most of these were no longer impressive. However, one talent-like spell caught his interest. Withered Wood Rejuvenation, Heaven Rank, Low Grade. Can automatically heal injuries. Without a second thought, Bai Yu chose the Withered Wood Rejuvenation technique. From now on, all minor injuries would heal automatically, and even if he was seriously wounded, his chances of survival would be much greater. Yiya had relied on this technique to survive many near-death experiences. Just then, a five-colored stream of energy rose from the earth and entered Bai Yu's mind. His brain buzzed as he felt his soul undergo a transformation.
Burier en extrême bloodline.
Received Earth Chi feedback. Feng Shui level increased by 3 ranks. Now rank 13. Qi Gazing Dharma Eye has been upgraded to Feng Shui Eye.
Feng Shui Eye, even rank, high grade.
Can see through Feng Shui and Earth Qi, seek out dragon veins and life force. Bai Yu was overjoyed. He hadn't been able to gain any feng shui proficiency in the demon ceiling pagoda, because he didn't dare to play the Yellow Springs melody. He never expected this demon mausoleum to be an extreme bloodline site. By a stroke of luck, he had broken through to the 13th rank geomancer. What was even more surprising was that his chi-gazing Dharma eye had been upgraded. Bai Yu took a deep breath to calm himself, then quickly cleaned up the battlefield. He swiftly collected a few items: Yi Ya's storage bag, Sovereign Lai Hua's storage ring, and the feather fan magic treasure. He didn't even have time to open the 2 storage items. Because the real miracle was about to happen. Bai Yu's lips curled into a smirk. The 3-day period is up. The Tomb Raider has returned. Let the tomb raiding
begin.
He flipped his hand, and a hoe made of black iron appeared. He then chose a nearby tomb and began to work with gusto. According to the rules, first offer incense.
3 for the god, 4 for the ghosts.
3 sticks to honor the patriarch, 4 sticks to honor the tomb's occupant. This tomb raiding business. Its patriarch is Chow Chow. That scoundrel Chow Mengda. May the patriarch bless this disciple's tomb raiding today. After it's done, I'll burn a 5-fruit offering to the patriarch. After speaking, he began to swing his hoe. These demon tombs were made of obsidian demon stone, incredibly hard, able to withstand the attacks of foundation-building cultivators. The tombs were also filled with various traps and even curses. Even a golden core sovereign would have a hard time forcibly breaking in. But for Bai Yu, this was no problem at all. A yellow light flickered in his eyes. With his feng shui eye activated, he could see the layout of the nearby earth veins with perfect clarity. The entire tomb structure was transparent to him. He could directly see where the weak points were. Digging in the little tomb, digging a little tunnel to find your daddy and mommy. Bai Yu swung his hoe, rapidly digging a tunnel as if moving through an unguarded land. He encountered a few traps and demonic formations along the way, all of which were easily bypassed. A 13th ranked geomancer raiding a tomb was like catching a turtle in a jar, a sure thing. He smoothly entered the first tomb. In the southwest corner of the tomb, he lit a lamp. To be safe, he also played a tune on the Yellow Springs melody. One tune of the Yellow Springs, a cycle of reincarnation, who can tell? On the platform of gazing home, the sound of weeping rises. Even if you are an immortal or a demon, what can you do? One tune, and no matter what demons or ghosts there were, they were all sent on their way. Afterward, Bai Yu bowed a few times to the coffin before opening it to search for treasure. Inside the coffin was the corpse of a red demon, its body shriveled and on the verge of decay. Bai Yu didn't waste any time, first nailing it with a demon-breaking thunder nail before storing it in a specially made jade pot furnace. A mid-grade red demon was worth 200 demon hunting points. In addition, Bai Yu found quite a few burial goods. After all, it was a demon mausoleum, and the items inside were exquisite. However, most demonic items were useless to him. He only picked out 2 demon jades and a few other barely usable items. Then, on to the next tomb. This tomb yielded even more. It was a high-grade red demon, and the burial goods included a raw ore. Bai Yu decided on the spot that one 5-fruit offering was not enough for the patriarch Chow Chow. He had to burn 2.
Double the offering, double the apine.
With that, he threw himself back into the tense and exciting work of archaeology. The first 20-something tombs were all red demons, and the burial goods weren't too plentiful. In total, they were worth about 6,000 demon hunting points. When he reached the 5 central tombs, the very first one contained a low-grade purple demon. There were also a dozen or so demon jades and raw ores as burial goods. A low-grade purple demon was worth 1,000 demon hunting points, a mid-grade was 2,000, and a high-grade was 3,000. If it was a special variety, the price could be even higher. Bai Yu pressed on, digging up 2 more low-grade purple demons and 1 mid-grade purple demon. In the mid-grade purple demon's tomb, he even found a fist-sized mid-grade demon jade. Thank you, Mother Nature's gift. Bai Yu took the demon jade and then diligently opened the final tomb. After going through the whole process and opening the coffin, he found a high-grade purple demon inside. And it was a strength demon, worth 5,000 points or more. Just as Bai Yu was about to seal and collect this purple demon, it sat up straight. Its eyes snapped open, blood-red. A terrifying aura instantly filled the entire tomb. Bai Yu was startled and instinctively threw a punch.
Demon Star Fist.
Clang.
A sound like metal striking metal rent out.
The purple demon didn't move an inch, without a single scratch on its body. Instead, Bai Yu was sent flying back, crashing heavily into the tomb wall. The purple demon rotated its arm, making a cracking sound. It spoke in the demonic language, Demon Star Fist, eh? Not bad.
Who are you, little one?
It seemed to still be recovering, its voice a bit hoarse. Bai Yu had been using his demonic beast appearance, so he was mistaken for one of them. He immediately reacted, pretending to be scared and stuttering in the demonic language. I am a messenger from the city lord. The demon city is under attack by human invaders. The city lord ordered me to come for reinforcements and to move the remains of our ancestors. He then tentatively asked, Are
you alive or dead? The purple demon gave a half smile. dead and reborn. Neither alive nor dead.
Its eyes stared at Bai Yu as if to see through his very soul. The humans have invaded Yi-Mo City? Bai Yu nodded fearfully.
Yes, it's a dire emergency.
Even the demon spring has been attacked. The demon spring was the equivalent of a human sect spirit eye, the foundation of a demon city. Bai Yu had learned this from the memory fragments of the Purple Demon King's clan. He deliberately mentioned the demon spring to distract the purple demon before him. As expected, the purple demon's expression changed. It punched a large hole in the tomb ceiling and transformed into a cloud of black chi, shooting into the sky. At the same time, it threw down a black stone axe. The purple demon quickly disappeared into the horizon, leaving only a single sentence behind: "This demon treasure is your reward." Bai Yu seemed to be frozen in place, but he had actually activated his wind-listening ear, taking in all the sounds within a 100-mile radius. Once he confirmed the purple demon was far away, he didn't dare to touch anything in the tomb. He directly used an earth technique and fled in the opposite direction. Less than an incense stick's worth of time after he fled, the purple demon returned. "Damn it, I've been tricked. I've been tricked."
A heaven-shaking roar echoed from the sky.
The purple demon had just revived, its mind not fully clear, and it had been distracted by the news of the demon city. For a moment, it had actually been deceived by Bai Yu. But on the way, the more it thought, the more something felt wrong. Why would the demon city send an outsider to dig up graves? If it was a direct descendant of the city lord, how could they not recognize their own ancestor? He, Qi Meng, was the founder of Yi-Mo City. So he concluded that Bai Yu must be a tomb raider, most likely a wild demonic beast. The purple demon, Qi Meng, sneered coldly.
Tombe raider, don't think you can escape.
He closed his eyes, and a purple eye opened on his forehead. Found it. My demon treasure. My demon treasure is not so easy to take. His figure moved like lightning, chasing madly in one direction. In less than half an incense stick's time, he saw a figure flying at a low altitude. Qi Meng sneered, raising his hand and shooting out a cloud of black smoke. It instantly crossed 10 miles, binding the figure tightly. He then beckoned, and the figure was pulled back. However, the next moment, the smile on Qi Meng's face froze. The figure was clearly a humanoid puppet. This puppet was modified from Lao Mo's artificial imbecile, with a simple flight function added. Qi Meng was both shocked and furious. He said in the demonic language, "What the hell is this thing?"
Artificial imbécile, what are you barking about?
Qi Meng was instantly enraged. He switched to the human language and shouted, "Who are you?"
Artificial imbécile, âme long lost, no blood relation fater.
Qi Meng was livid. He was actually being mocked by a puppet. The artificial imbecile continued to chatter, "What are you looking at? Never seen such a handsome father before? From now on, we'll go our separate ways.
You call me dad, I'll call you big bro.
Follow dad, and as long as I have a bite to eat, you'll have a sip to drink." Qi Meng flew into a rage and shattered the artificial imbecile with a single palm strike. "Damn you.
How dare you insult me?"
Among the pile of fragments was the tracking demon treasure. In reality, Bai Yu had never even touched the treasure, nor had he touched anything else in Qi Meng's tomb. At this moment, he was holding a green flag, riding a gentle breeze, and soaring rapidly through the sky. His speed was no slower than a golden core sovereign's. This was the power of the magic treasure, the Marquis en Pfeffing flag. Bai Yu flew for 1,000 miles, then suppressed his aura, switched between several dun techniques, and finally found a cave. He set up a formation and took a rest.
I've flown so far.
Even if that purple demon turns back, he'll never find me. Hee, now it's time to check the spoils. With that, Bai Yu took out a few items from his robes. The first was a piece of pitch-black wood. This was a burial item from a mid-grade purple demon. 6 ironwood, heaven rank, low-grade spiritual material. Can be used to refine attribute magic treasures. Bai Yu planned to refine the Shaoling fan, which required attribute wood. The 6 ironwood was one of the best choices, far better than the earth-rank mid-grade Xian wood. Bai Yu smiled slightly, put away the 6 ironwood, and a 3-colored fan appeared in his palm. Blazing Flame Fan Tier 1 Magic Treasure. Can release 3 types of flames. This was Sovereign Lai Hua's personal magic treasure, now in Bai Yu's hands. However, only Golden Core Sovereigns could use magic treasures, so Bai Yu couldn't use it for now. Bai Yu then took a storage bag from his waist. This was from Yiya. There wasn't much inside the baga pile of mid and low-grade spirit stones, equivalent to about 10,000 low-grade spirit stones. The rest were miscellaneous items. Only a blue bottle caught Bai Yu's attention. Opening the jade bottle, a fishy sea smell rushed out, instantly making one feel as if they were in the middle of the ocean. Bai Yu couldn't help but smile with delight. Azure Sea Tide, a spiritual liquid that can increase the chances of forming a golden core. Yiya was also a late-stage foundation building expert, with hopes of breaking through to the golden core. Naturally, he would prepare some spiritual items to aid in the process. This Azure Sea Tide could increase the chance of forming a golden core by half a percentage point. In addition, There were some spiritual fruits and pills in the storage bag. Although they couldn't increase the chances of forming a golden core, they were essential auxiliary materials for the process. Yi had meticulously prepared for his golden core breakthrough for decades, only for it to fall into Bai Yu's hands. Bai Yu chuckled, stored the useful items, and sorted them into 3 storage bags. Finally, he solemnly took out a ring.
A storage ring.
This was a spatial treasure a tier higher than a storage bag. The space in a storage bag wasn't actually that large. After all, spatial treasures were difficult to refine. The lowest grade storage bag only had a cubic foot of space, about the size of a wash basin. A higher grade one might be the size of a room. The larger the space, the more ridiculously the price soared. A storage ring was a tier above a storage bag. A single one could usually sell for tens of thousands of spirit stones, and it was a seller's market. Bai Yu's heart pounded as he probed the storage ring with his divine sense, trying to open it. Instantly, a repulsive force came from the storage ring, and it emitted a warning red light. But Bai Yu wasn't in a hurry. He began to constantly wear down the mark on the ring with his divine sense. After a full 2 days, he finally managed to erase the mark left by Sovereign Lai Hua. He sent his divine sense into the ring, and his face lit up with joy. The space in this ring was as large as 3 or 4 rooms. In one corner were over 1,000 mid-grade spirit stones, which was more than 100,000 low-grade spirit stones. There were also many pills. Bai Yu took a quick look. They were all at least Earth rank mid-grade. There were even several bottles of Heaven rank, low-grade Xingyuan pills. This was a top-quality pill for advancing one's cultivation, usable even by golden core cultivators, let alone a foundation-building cultivator like Bai Yu. Besides the Xingyuan pills, there were also several other types of pills like blood coagulation pills and spirit replenishing pills, all of which Bai Yu desperately needed. In addition, there were a few jade slips. Among them was a fire attribute cultivation technique.
Triflamme even burning R, even rank, mid-grade.
Compatibility with Dragon Sparrow leaving flame art, 53. Without a second thought, Bai Yu fused the 2 cultivation techniques. Fusion successful.
Obtened even rank, high-grade cultivation technique, Dragon Sparrow even burning R.
The wealth of a golden core expert was truly immense. Bai Yu even had the urge to change his profession to a bandit. But he quickly suppressed the thought and stored the storage ring in his Hao Han martial soul for safekeeping. He had Lao Mo stand guard while he took out a bottle of high-grade blood coagulation pills and began to refine and consume them. With an ample supply of pills, his strength increased rapidly. Half a month later, his cultivation finally advanced again.
Cultivation, Fondation building, level 7, Great perfection.
True Yuan, 4040. His cultivation had finally reached the great perfection of foundation building, and he could now attempt to break through to the golden core realm. Moreover, his true Yuan had reached 4,000 points, enough to cast the 5-colored Thunder Whip twice.
Indeed, a man can't get rich without a windfall, just a horse can't get fat without night fodder.
Next, I should try the 100 Refinements Demonic Core Secret Art. With a thought, Bai Yu activated the 100 Refinements Demonic Core Secret Art. Instantly, the true Yuan in his body split into 2 streams, one fire and one wood. Wood fed fire, but fire could also burn wood. For a time, the 2 streams of true Yuan began to clash. Veins popped on Bai Yu's face, as if he were about to explode. However, he also secretly circulated the demonic dragon golden body technique, enduring the riot of true Yuan in his body. As the 2 streams of true Yuan fought against each other, the quality of the true Yuan underwent a subtle change. It became more condensed, and the energy it contained grew more powerful. Bai Yu secretly calculated in his mind. The 5 elements golden core from the Heaven's Gate secret realm could increase the chance of forming a golden core by 20%. The Azure Sea Tide added another 0.5%. Then, for each additional cultivation technique he mastered to perfection, he could add another 0.5%. If he could cultivate all 5 elements to perfection, forming a golden core should not be a problem. His current aptitude was already at the level of a minor prodigy, so he already had a certain success rate. Combined with the pills and secret arts, there shouldn't be a major issue. So the next goal is to find 3 more cultivation techniques for earth, metal, and water, and cultivate them to perfection. Thinking of this, Bai Yu stood up abruptly, and with a shake, he returned to his original appearance. It's been so long, the situation at the Demon City should be resolved by now. Based on Bai Yu's estimation, the Demon Ceiling Pagoda side should have a 90% chance of victory this time. He and Lao Mo suppressed their auras and traveled all the way towards the Demon City. A few days later, they finally arrived at the original site of the Demon City. The once towering stone city had been reduced to ruins. A large spiritual energy formation hung in the sky, constantly refining something. A thundersteel flying ship floated in the air, with demon ceiling cultivators constantly entering and exiting. Bai Yu revealed himself and flew onto the ship. He had just steadied himself and was about to go to the points hall when someone grabbed his wrist. He looked and saw it was Luo Feng.
No time for talk, follow me.
He pulled Bai Yu into a quiet room. I brought Wu Cheng back. Yuan Wu, Xue Mei, and Ji Yu were overjoyed. Yuan Wu strode forward and gave Bai Yu a bear hug. Good kid, where did you run off to?
We took you were dead.
If you had died, Master would have skinned me alive. Ji Yu added from the side, we sent people out to wait for you every day. We finally got you back.
Beius Miled. Senior brothers and sisters, I've made you worry.
That day, I was chased all over by that red demon.
I even lost my own sense of direction.
Xu Ma also came forward. Junior brother Wu Cheng, it's so good that you're back. He chatted warmly with Yuan Wu and the others for a while. Even the usually cold Luo Feng came over and asked a few questions. Bai Yu felt a bit embarrassed. When we get back to the demon ceiling pagoda, I'll treat everyone to drinks. After the pleasantries, he went to the point's hall. Cultivators were constantly returning to the hall, handing over the demonic beasts they had hunted. When it was Bai Yu's turn, he waved his hand, and a small mountain of demonic beasts appeared before him. Swish. All eyes in the hall focused on him. Everyone was stunned. The female cultivator at the registration desk had her mouth wide open.
1, 2, 3.
A full 20 or 30 demonic beasts. Another male cultivator exclaimed, and there are several purple demons. Could it be that a nascent soul ancestor has arrived? Xu Ma, who had insisted on accompanying him, was even more horrified.
Junior brother, how?
How did you do this? Bai Yu had already prepared his story. He smiled and said, that day, after I separated from you, senior brother and sister, the red demon chased me all the way. I ran, and finally ended up in a valley.
Guess what he found?
Xu Ma's eyes were full of curiosity. What did you find? Bai Yu slapped his thigh. A whole bunch of wild ancestral tombs. Perhaps because of the big battle at the demon city, those demonic beast ancestral tombs were left unguarded. And it just so happens that I know a thing or two about tomb raiding. Isn't that a coincidence? Xu Ma was amazed. You even know how to do that? Bai Yu showed an innocent smile.
Just a little.
Xu Ma's eyes sparkled as she looked at him, smiling sweetly. Her junior brother was truly amazing, he knew everything. The other cultivators in the hall all sighed at Bai Yu's incredible luck. To stumble upon a demon's ancestral tomb. His luck was simply heaven-defying. What they didn't know was that if it had been them, even if they knew the location of the mausoleum, they wouldn't have made it out alive. On the other side, the female cultivator at the registration desk said with a trembling voice, fellow Taoist, your battle merits have been tallied. 25 red demons, 3 low-grade purple demons, 1 mid-grade purple demon.
Total demon hunting point, 12,4 cents.
Bai Yu was delighted but showed no emotion on his face. He took out his demon hunting medallion and gave it to the round-faced female cultivator. The round-faced female cultivator said, your cumulative points exceed 10,000.
You can exchange it for a bronze demon hunting medallion.
Please wait a moment while I report this. 1,000 demon hunting points could be exchanged for an iron demon hunting medallion, equivalent to a 5th-rank deputy demon sealing position. 10,000 points could be exchanged for a bronze demon slaying medallion, allowing one to become a 5th-rank official demon slaying position. Most importantly, with a demon slaying position, one could accept missions to go out and hunt demons. The stone that had been weighing on Bai Yu's heart finally lifted. From now on, even if another riot broke out in the demon ceiling pagoda, it would no longer affect him. Not long after, a brilliant light shot in from outside. It was a doll-like child, exquisitely carved from jade. He wore a red tutu, was barefoot, and even carried a baby bottle. But the aura from his body was incredibly powerful. He was actually a peak golden core expert. This little doll was the deputy to General Tianguan, Marquis Chun. Marquis Chun was an emperor of life and qi. I heard someone got promoted to a demon-slaying position. Let me see which kid it is. The round-faced female cultivator pointed at Bai Yu. Marquis Chun, it's him. He raided the demons' tombs and handed in nearly 30 demonic beasts at once, including 4 purple demons. Marquis Chun, with his little arms behind his back, circled Bai Yu 3 times to the left and 3 times to the right, his eyes darting around, sizing him up non-stop.
Not bad, kid.
From today on, you are a 5th-rank demon-slaying position. A 5th-rank demon-slaying position gets a monthly stipend of 1,000 contribution points, a commission for slaying demons, and can enter the White Treasure Mountain to exchange for spiritual materials and techniques. He waved his hand, and a bronze-colored medallion fell into Bai Yu's palm. Bai Yu cupped his hands in a salute. Thank you, Marquis Chun. Marquis Chun waved his little arms and said in a childish voice, no problem. From now on, stick with Big Bro, and Big Bro will protect you. He then picked up his baby bottle and took a couple of big gulps. Bai Yu couldn't help but find it amusing. This Marquis Chun was quite the character. After exchanging for the bronze demon-slaying medallion, Bai Yu felt completely relaxed. A few days later, he returned to the demon sealing pagoda with the others. The first thing Bai Yu did was to find Marquis Chun to receive a demon hunting mission. Unfortunately, there were no suitable teams for him at the moment. The earliest would be in a month. But Bai Yu wasn't too disappointed. Since they had just conquered a whole demon city, there would be an endless supply of demonic beasts. For a while, he would be raking in burial rewards. The first thing Bai Yu did upon returning to the demon ceiling pagoda was to check the burial area. As expected, in burial area No. 6, every tomb was full. Some even had 4 or 5 demonic beasts stuffed inside. Most shockingly, there were 3 purple demons, one of which was a mid-grade purple demon. The entire burial area's Thunderfire Grand Formation was running at maximum power, Chenli refining the demonic beasts. Bai Yu was ecstatic. This wave of burials would surely yield a bountiful harvest. However, refining the demonic beasts would take some time, and Bai Yu was in no hurry. He first went to the infirmary. He wasn't there for anything else but to do one thing: spend money. He was very rich now. Over 10,000 demon hunting points could be exchanged for 100,000 contribution points. After exchanging for the demon-slaying medallion, the demon hunting points could still be used. The sect only required that you accumulate 10,000 points. Bai Yu immediately exchanged for over 100,000 contribution points. Spend it like there's no tomorrow. Buy healing pills. Buy spirit replenishing pills.
Buy.
Hey shopkeeper, hit him. He returned with a large pile of pills. He'd eat one and throw one away, use white sugar when he wanted white sugar, and red sugar when he wanted red sugar. After doing all this, Bai Yu bought a lot of beast meat and cooked a huge feast for Wuweizi. When Wuweizi saw the table with 30 or 50 dishes, a suspicious look appeared in his eyes. Why do I get the feeling you're about to pull a big one on me?
Spit out. What do you want this time? Bai Yu smiled.
Master, what are you saying? Am I the kind of person who only acts for profit and would even scheme against his own master?
Wuweizi, don't do it. You are. Bai Yu. Master, you see me this way? I'm so hurt.
Damn, you see right through me. Wuweizi, while eating, said, when a weasel pays a New Year's visit to a chicken, it's never with good intentions. Bai Yu grinned and walked behind Wuweizi, giving him a shoulder massage. Actually, I've become a 5th-rank demon slayer. I'll be going out on missions soon.
Wuweizi, so.
Bai Yu, Master, look, your disciple's strength is low. If I go out and get killed, wouldn't that tarnish your reputation? For the sake of your face, do you think you could pass on a few techniques to your disciple? Not too many, just 1 or 200 will do. Wuweizi spat out a mouthful of wine. 1 or 200.
Do you think he owns the 10,000 methods pavilion? No technique for you.
You can sell me this old bag of bones, and see how many techniques you can get.
Bai Yu. Master, you said it yourself.
I heard the Pink Fairy Pavilion has a lot of rich old ladies with a special fetish for handsome old men. Wuweizi instantly exploded and gave Bai Yu a violent beating. Damn it, heavenly venerate. How did I end up with a disciple like you? However, although the old Taoist was harsh with his words, he still threw a jade slip to Bai Yu. Inside was a catalogue of various cultivation techniques. By the time Bai Yu left, he had 3 more cultivation techniques in his storage bag: Earth Treasury Secret Art, Tai Bai Sword Art, and Profound Water Heart Art. The latter 2 were Heaven Rank, low grade, and the Earth Treasury Secret Art was Heaven Rank mid grade. Now his 5-element cultivation techniques were complete. He just needed to master them all, and his chances of forming a golden core would increase by another 1.5%. And it was said that with all 5 elements complete, the chances would increase by another 1%. He had to admit, having a master to back him up was great. Thinking back to his days as a rogue cultivator, getting even an Earth Rank technique was incredibly difficult. Bai Yu returned to his room with great enthusiasm and began to cultivate the first technique, the Earth Treasury Secret Art. With an ample supply of pills and his now decent aptitude, his cultivation progressed rapidly. Within a few days, the Earth Attribute technique had reached the mid-stage of chi refining. In the Red Sun Fury area, some of the demonic beasts had been refined. Bai Yu's spirits lifted. Without a second thought, he rode his stone turtle out to perform a burial. Burial successful for 1 red demon. Reward obtained, 8 years of cultivation, 3,060,000 life experience. Optional rewards, Demonic Chi +4, Mid-grade Demon Yuan +2. Burial participation, 66%. An additional reward can be selected. The first demonic beast was average. But you could only choose the mid-grade Demon Yuan. Burial successful for 1 red demon. Reward obtained, Fire Spirit Root +7, 4,040,000 life experience. An additional reward can be selected. Demonic Chi +7, Mid-grade Demon Yuan +3, Spirit Calling Brush. Bai Yu's eyes instantly lit up. A top-tier item had dropped. Spirit Calling Brush, a minor divine ability. Can track and distinguish various subtle scents.
Tracking range, 20 miles.
He never expected a mid-grade red demon to drop a minor divine ability. Without a second thought, Bai Yu directly chose the Spirit Calling Brush. Instantly, he could feel all sorts of scents rushing into his nose. Bai Yu spent 10 million life experience points to raise it to the state of pinnacle of perfection. Then, a smile appeared on his lips as his mind raced. With this Spirit Calling Brush, he might really be able to find the hidden mole. Those people had dared to move against him, but you would not let them off easily. For the past few days, he had seemingly been engrossed in cultivation, ignoring worldly affairs. But in reality, he had been secretly using his wind-listening ear to monitor every movement in Burial Area No. 6. He could confirm that the demonic beast was still lurking in Burial Area No. 6, because he could occasionally hear the demon's whispers. But he could never confirm who it was. He had suspected Yi and Bai Sure, but now both were dead, and Yi's memory fragments had no mention of him falling to the demonic path. So who was the mole? Bai Yu had a vague guess, but without evidence, he remained impassive. He returned to the Patriarch's hall to hand over the stone turtle, Baxia. Coincidentally, Qingxi had also returned from a burial. However, he didn't enter the Patriarch's hall to hand over his stone turtle. Instead he said, "What bad luck.
Another Baxia stone turtle is broken.
I have to send it for repairs." Bai Yu smiled and nodded, not paying it much mind. It was natural for the Baxia stone turtles to be damaged or lost. Usually, they would be repaired if possible. If not, they would be sent to the miscellaneous storeroom to be written off. For the next few days, Bai Yu showed no sign of action. He went to the Demon Repelling Academy during the day to make demon-breaking swords and cook for old Wu Wei. At night, he would meditate and cultivate, his strength progressing rapidly. This kind of life seemed boring, but he enjoyed it. Anyone who saw themselves making progress every day would put in 120% effort. Today, after he finished crafting a demon-breaking sword, he started cooking. Xuemei came to help. She smiled and said, "Junior brother, why are you cooking so much this time?" Bai Yu said, "I'll be leaving soon. Before I go, I'll cook enough for Master to eat for 2 years." Xuemei watched Bai Yu busy at work, her eyes shining. She suddenly said, "Junior brother, I think you're very good. Especially good." Bai Yu said, "I also think senior sister is especially good." Xuemei, "Then we, Bai Yu, are both good people." Bai Yu cooked over 1,000 dishes, enough for old Wu Wei to eat for 1 or 2 years. He packed the food into a storage bag and gave it to the old Taoist. The old Taoist took the storage bag, clearly stunned for a moment. Even though he had lived for so many years, a touch of emotion rose in his heart. But he still didn't spare his words. "Kid, you're making it seem like you're going to die tomorrow."
Bai Yu smiled.
"The ingredients here are hard to come by. You'll have to make do for now."
When you get to seed, he'll get you some new things.
The more the old Taoist looked at Bai Yu, the more he liked him. This little disciple was sweet-tongued, knew how to talk, knew how to get things done, and had a Bai Chao spirit body. Most importantly, he was loyal and grateful. He took a jade plate from his robes and threw it to Bai Yu. This jade plate was identical to Bai Yu's disciple token, only more exquisite. Bai Yu asked, puzzled, "What is this?" The old Taoist said, "This is called a quasi-true disciple token. With this, your status is equivalent to a true disciple." Bai Yu was shocked. The disciples of the Leiyang sect were divided into outer sect, inner sect, and true disciples. There is actually another category between inner sect and true disciple, called quasi-true. It was like a concubine in the mortal world, also called a quasi-wife, equivalent to a wife. In short, a personal disciple of a nascent soul ancestor who had not yet reached the golden core realm could be called a quasi-true disciple. Their status was equivalent to a true disciple. If an accident happened, the sect would investigate thoroughly. But they didn't have the other rights and benefits of a true disciple. Was a quasi-true disciple truly true?
Like a true one.
Bai Yu was shocked. "Master, where did you get this? You didn't steal it from someone, did you?" Xuemei, at the side, smiled.
"Junior brother, you don't know.
Our master was once a nascent soul ancestor. His original title was 7-Step Thunderbolt. He would never talk if he could fight. Later, because of a battle with a demonic beast, his cultivation fell to the golden core realm, but he still enjoys nascent soul treatment." Old Taoist Wu Wei snorted from his nose. "Take it. When you're out, whoever wants to harm you will have to think about the weight of the Leiyang sect. A true disciple is the future and foundation of the sect. Once one is harmed, it's a matter of life and death. And generally, once you reach the level of a true disciple, you basically won't be used as a pawn." Bai Yu was moved. Old Taoist Wu Wei was quite a responsible master. Bai Yu immediately showered the old Taoist with a torrent of rainbow farts, so much so that the old Taoist couldn't stand it and kicked Bai Yu out. Bai Yu returned to Burial Area No. 6 with a grin. He first wandered through the 9 tomb chambers. 2 of the 3 purple demons in the chambers, the low-grade ones, had been refined into dry bones and were quiet. Not only were their demonic chi and life force gone, but even their luck had vanished. Bai Yu remained impassive, secretly activating his Feng Shui AI.
The Feng Shui I could see the life force of all things.
As expected, he found a faint, almost imperceptible trace of life force remaining in the skull of 1 purple demon. Bai Yu thought to himself, as expected, "The mole has struck again. If I'm not mistaken, this purple demon will be taken away and revived using a technique like revival by death substitution." He impassively guided a tiny subtle thread of feng shui earth qi to condense on the purple demon's leg bone. Feng shui earth qi was not like spiritual qi or demonic qi, an ordinary cultivator would never be able to detect it. Then, he used his spirit calling brush to firmly imprint this purple demon's aura in his mind. For the next few days, Bai Yu avoided that purple demon and only buried the other one. Burial successful for one low-grade purple demon. Reward obtained, poison spirit root plus 18, 10,240,000 life experience. An additional reward can be selected. Purple demon chi plus 3, high-grade demon yuan plus 2, 100 poisons immunity, 5 poisons ancient art, purple poison smoke. This was a poison demon, so all the rewards were related to poison. Bai Yu looked them over and finally chose a talent. 100 poisons immunity, heaven rank, mid-grade talent. Greatly enhances poison resistance. Ordinary poisons will no longer have any effect on you. Different demonic beasts had different unique talents. For example, strength demons had talents like great strength golden body and quaking force. And 100 poisons immunity was the unique talent of the poison demon lineage. To cultivate poison techniques, one first had to ensure they wouldn't be poisoned to death. So this 100 poisons immunity talent was crucial. From now on, Bai Yu could eat arsenic like sugar and drink hemlock like a beverage without any issue. Bai Yu chuckled, looking forward even more to the reward from the mid-grade purple demon. That night, the other low-grade purple demon was also taken out for burial. Bai Yu used his wind-listening ear to lock onto the person's movements. He was in his room, yet he could hear the movements several miles away with perfect clarity. However, when the person flew about 10 miles away, they suddenly vanished. There was no more sound. Lost them. These demonic beasts are really tricky. Just relying on hearing is not enough to lock them down. This was also within Bai Yu's expectations. If demonic beasts were that easy to track, they would have been exposed long ago. But he wasn't in a hurry. For the next few days, he seemed to wander around aimlessly. When he neared the miscellaneous storeroom, he smelled a familiar scent. It was the low-grade purple demon. And the feng shui qi in this place was also slightly disturbed. Bai Yu's mind suddenly cleared, confirming his previous suspicions.
The Moline Burial Areano.
6 was Qing Shi. Qing Shi had once had physical contact with Bai Yu. After that, the demonic shadow in Bai Yu's body had relapsed, and he had gained a pair of red-sleeved hands. And it could be inferred that Qing Shi and the others had revived the demonic beast and hidden it in the belly of a Bashya stone turtle to deceive everyone. The Bashya stone turtle itself had the effect of isolating auras, making it perfect for hiding a demonic beast. Then they would find an excuse to report the Bashya stone turtle as broken and send it to the miscellaneous storeroom to be hidden. Bai Yu showed no expression and walked past, as if he were just passing by. But in his heart, he snorted coldly. Unexpectedly, he took no action for the next few days. Instead, he peacefully performed burials and cultivated, waiting for the mid-grade purple demon to be refined. Half a month later, the mid-grade purple demon was finally refined. Bai Yu confirmed that this purple demon was fine and personally buried it. Burial successful for one mid-grade purple demon. Reward obtained, 150 years of cultivation, 25 million life experience. An additional reward can be selected. Purple demon chi plus 9, mid-grade demon yuan plus 6, quaking fist, strength of an ox. The reward for this purple demon was indeed generous.
The basic reward Alon Med Bai Yu ecstatic. HIS progress in the Earth Très Azuri Secret are advanced to the early stage of foundation building.
What was most surprising was that this purple demon was a strength demon and had dropped a great strength talent. Strength of an ox heaven rank, mid-grade talent. After fully mastering, can increase strength by 1 million catties. In this world, the strength of a brute force Kuei ox is exactly 1 million catties. Without any hesitation, Bai Yu directly chose this talent and spent over 100 million life experience points to raise it to the state of transcendent. Now, including his own strength, his brute force reached 1.8 million catties. Bai Yu spent his days burying demons and cultivating, his life peaceful and fulfilling. A month later, he found Marquis Chun, ready to receive a demon hunting mission. Marquis Chun was still in the form of a 3-year-old child. He held a baby bottle and said while drinking, "We've received news from the demon-slaying position in Songming Kingdom. There's been unusual demonic beast activity there, and they're requesting support. Songming Kingdom is a vassal state of Dali Kingdom. The situation there is not as stable as in Dali and is more difficult."
Wushan, are you willing to go?
Bai Yu was excited. He could finally leave the whirlpool of the demon ceiling pagoda. Who knew when those hidden demonic beasts would strike? So the sooner he left, the better. He immediately nodded and said, "I am willing." Marquis Chun said, "Wherever we from the Leiyang sect go, we walk with our heads held high. Back in the day, with a baby bottle in one hand and a greatsword in the other, I fought from the 10,000 great mountains to the northern wasteland. When you're out there, you have to be able to fight and kick ass.
Don't disgrace my name."
Marquis Chun waved his baby bottle, speaking animatedly, milk dripping from the corner of his mouth onto his doo-doo. Bai Yu nodded.
Marquis Chun, reste assured.
I will not tarnish the name of the Leiyang sect. Marquis Chun's tender face showed a teachable expression. Good. Very spirited. Also, don't call me Marquis.
Call me boss. Point.
Bai thought, this Marquis Chun must have some screws loose. But he naturally wouldn't say it out loud. He readily agreed, yes boss. Marquis Chun waved his hand. Go, pack up and set off.
I will assign a team of iron demon-slaying guard to you.
Bai suppressed his excitement, turned, and left the room. This journey was like a dragon returning to the sea, a tiger entering the mountains. He would no longer have to worry about being harmed by the mole in the demon-sealing pagoda. Not long after he left, Marquis Chun spoke to the air behind him.
Seigneur Broder, are you satisfied now?
A figure slowly walked out from a corner. It was old Taoist Wu Wei.
Wu Wei said, Little Shunzi, don't you dare to me.
Are you sure there are no problems in Songming Kingdom? Marquis Chun said in a childish voice, Senior brother, rest assured. Songming Kingdom is the most stable of Dali's 120 vassal states. There has never been any trouble there. Your precious disciple will be fine as long as he's a little clever. Besides, isn't your fourth disciple, Chongqing, there? He'll have someone to look after him. Wu Wei nodded. That's good.
Yo Yuan.
Marquis Chun waved his hand. Senior brother, what are you talking about? There's no need for owing between us. I'm just a bit surprised. You seem to value this kid exceptionally, even coming over personally to check on him. Wu Wei seemed to be talking to himself. The eldest is getting old. The demon-repelling pavilion can't have its lineage broken. Yuan Wu is loyal but not smart enough. Chongqing is brave and resourceful, and his aptitude is good, but his heart isn't here. It's not easy to find a good seedling. I can't let anything happen to him. It's a pity his cultivation aptitude is a bit lacking. Sigh. A long sigh echoed in the room. 7 days later, Yuan Wu was busy in the demon-repelling pavilion. He muttered to himself, now that junior brother is gone, it feels a bit strange. Master probably feels the same way. He's too lazy to even watch the shop. His hands didn't stop, he was repairing a gourd-shaped magic treasure. The demon-repelling pavilion not only sold demon-repelling treasures, but also ordinary magic treasures. Sometimes, if a magic treasure was damaged, it would be sent back for repair. Yuan Wu quickly disassembled the jade gourd, checking the chi patterns inside. Suddenly, he found a piece of paper. He took it out and opened it. On it was a line of crooked words. Demonic beasts have invaded the demon-sealing pagoda. Hidden in the storeroom of the Yellow District. Yuan Wu's expression changed drastically. He quickly put away the paper. He rushed to find Wu Wei with the note. Wu Wei took the note and examined it repeatedly. Yuan Wu, who sent that gourd? And when? Yuan Wu said, as I recall, it was a big bearded man 3 days ago. 3 days ago.
Good, I understand.
I will handle this matter. Do not spread it around. The demon-sealing pagoda remained peaceful. Until half a year later, a demonic beast riot suddenly broke out on the second floor. All the demon-sealing cultivators were caught off guard. At this moment, a green-robed youth led a team of demonic beasts and charged all the way to Tomb No. 1 in the Heaven District. He took out a formation plate and pressed it against the tomb's door. Father, your son has come to save you. The tomb door rumbled open, and a bloody light shot out from inside. I'm finally out. A blood-robed man with fiery hair and 3 eyes was revealed in the bloody light. This was a Xian Mo, a demonic beast comparable to a human nascent soul expert.
The green-robed youth knelt down.
Congratulations on your return, father.
The blood-robed man logged heartily.
Jui, well done. You've done very well. The green-robed youth also smiled. Thank you for your praise, father. I have already taken control of a transportation formation. Let's leave quickly. The blood-robed man nodded. Good.
Let's get out first.
We can settle the score with the Leiyang sect later.
Leiyang sect.
I'd like to see if your disciples can withstand the assassination of a Xian Mo. He transformed into a bloody light, wrapped up the green-robed youth, and the other demonic beasts transformed into streams of black chi, following the bloody light as they fled. Soon, the group of demonic beasts left the demon-sealing pagoda and arrived at a valley. A black-robed man was already waiting there. The green-robed youth, Jui, stepped forward and cupped his hands.
Brother Ding, thank you for your trouble.
After this is done, you will be handsomely rewarded. That brother Ding formed a seal and activated the transportation formation.
Rumble.
The formation burst with red light, about to teleport the group of demonic beasts away. However, the next moment, the red light went out. Brother Ding's expression changed drastically. He repeatedly cast spells but found that it had no effect. Damn it! The transportation formation has been intercepted. Around the valley, a handsome middle-aged man led a group of demon-sealing cultivators and surrounded the valley tightly. King Yasha, we meet again. The blood-robed man's expression changed drastically.
Diguan.
It's you. The Diguan general, King Yu, said, "Of course it's me. Today, the father and son of Yasha City are finally reunited. Activate the Big Dipper demon-slaying formation." In an instant, the demon-sealing cultivators, holding formation flags, activated a super-large formation. 7 stars appeared in the void, shooting down thousands of starlights. Although the demonic beasts fought desperately, they were ultimately caught in one fell swoop. Only King Yasha and his son Jui were left. Jui's face was pale. "I've fallen into a trap." So this was a long-term plan to catch a big fish. No wonder the Ding family would cooperate with us. No wonder the demon-sealing pagoda was so easy to infiltrate. It was all under their control. King Yasha gritted his teeth. "Jui, it's not your fault.
You must remember tout avant Jurfater. Kilol the Leyan secte cultivator."
With that, he spat out a blood-red bead. The bead burst with a bloody light, enveloping Jui, and he directly vanished into the endless void. Unexpectedly, the Diguan general did not stop him. He just looked at King Yasha. The Diguan general quietly looked at King Yasha and suddenly said, "You should make your move now." King Yasha's 3 eyes bulged, and with a wave of his hands, blades of bloody light shot out, crashing into the Big Dipper demon-slaying formation. For a moment, the 7 Big Dipper stars in the sky were shaken. Break. The vertical eye on King Yasha's forehead shot out a crimson blade of light, actually managing to slash through the Big Dipper formation. King Yasha's face also turned pale. He transformed into a bloody light, broke out of the formation, and fled towards the horizon. The Diguan general shouted, "Where do you think you're going?" He chased after him for 100 miles. Suddenly, King Yasha stopped and turned to look at the Diguan general. "Diguan, I've done as you said."
I broke the formation en Kamir. You let Jui go. Tell me, what do you want?
The Diguan general said flatly, "I want to eat you." King Yasha was stunned for a moment, then burst into laughter.
Ah!
"I see. You deliberately let Jui infiltrate the demon-sealing pagoda to rescue me. Then you watched as I used the blood source bead to send Jui away. And then you made me expend my energy to break the formation. So it was all to consume my origin and eventually refine me." The Diguan general didn't deny it. "Although there are some deviations, that's more or less it. With your strength, plus your inherited demonic chi and the blood source bead, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to truly refine you even in 1,000 years." King Yasha's eyes flared with a golden light.
You want to eat me?
"You have some nerve. Aren't you afraid I'll possess you instead?" The Diguan general stroked his beard. "If I am possessed by you, then it's because my skills are inferior, and it is my fate. If I succeed in refining you, I will have hopes of reaching the spirit transformation realm in the future." With that, he pointed a finger, and a huge seal appeared in the sky, suppressing King Yasha. There was another large formation here. King Yasha knew he couldn't escape and didn't put up a useless struggle. He just focused his energy and constantly resisted the formation's refining. The Diguan general waved his sleeve, urging the formation to operate. An hour later, King Yasha was refined into a pool of boiling essence blood. The Diguan general took the essence blood, a glint in his eyes. "The origin of a Shen Mo is enough to ensure my path forward is smooth. As for the risk, a real man lives without a roof over his head, dies without a roof over his head.
What is a little risk?"
Thinking of this, he reached out and brought the essence blood to his mouth. However, just then, a spatial fluctuation occurred around him. A withered hand snatched the essence blood from his mouth. The Diguan general's expression changed drastically.
Tous en mile sky-stepping technique.
"Tianguan, why are you back so early?" Not far away, a white-haired old man held a dragon-headed cane in one hand and the essence blood in the other. This old man was the Tianguan general. Not only that, but other figures appeared around them. Their auras varied, but even the weakest was a peak golden core expert. Even Marquis Chun was on the battlefield, holding his baby bottle.
The Diguan generales face d'Arkened.
Tianguan, Shueguan, Senior Brother Wu, Marquis Chun, Marquis Xia.
You rolir.
It seems you all knew. A dignified and elegant palace lady said, "Diguan, your UMO faction is too bold. You even dare to scheme against a Shen Mo. If something goes wrong, it will be a great disaster for the sect." This woman was also a nascent soul ancestor, the most mysterious Shueguan general. The Diguan general was not afraid. He just said, "Shueguan, my scheming against King Yasha was not for myself. I don't believe you haven't sensed that the demonic beasts in all 4 directions are becoming active again. It's very likely another demonic calamity is coming. In troubled times, we must use heavy measures. How can we protect the sect and the patriarch if we don't quickly increase our strength?" At this moment, the Tianguan general shook his head. "We don't doubt your loyalty to the sect. But the risk is too great. Once you are possessed by the demonic beast, the sect will not only lose a nascent soul expert but also gain a powerful enemy. The secrets of the demon-sealing pagoda will also be leaked."
The Diguan general was furious.
Risk, risk. If you're afraid of risk, why even seal demons? Wouldn't it be safer to crawl back into your mother's womb? I dared to move against King Yasha because I was confident. The Tianguan general snorted coldly. This is not for you or me to decide. We have already reported this to the Grand Elder. With that he took out a seal and announced loudly, by order of Grand Elder Lu Lin. Diguan's plan to trap and refine King Yasha of Yasha City was meritorious. However, disregarding the sex risk and attempting to devour a Xian Mo, and letting the blood source bead and King Yasha's descendant escape, is a great demerit. You are stripped of your position as Diguan. You are exiled to the minor demon mirror to suppress demons. You may only return to the sect after you have transformed a demon into an immortal. The Diguan listened and sighed heavily. Since it is the Grand Elder's order, I have nothing to say. However, I want to know who will replace me as Diguan. This position is not something just anyone can handle. Even the current senior brother Wu Wei is not capable. At this moment, a red figure appeared in the sky. She was dressed in red like fire, her features picturesque. It was senior sister Yan Li. I will be the one to take over. When the Diguan saw her, a look of understanding appeared on his face.
So it's you.
Then I have nothing more to say. Senior sister Yan Li said, Diguan, you have become too close to the Ding family. The demon sealing pagoda is a vital part of the sect. We absolutely cannot let those aristocratic families get their hands on it. The Diguan snorted coldly. I don't need you to lecture me. I was merely using the Ding family. With that, he transformed into a brilliant light and shot away. The one who had been a general now looked at Wu Weizi. This time, thanks to senior brother Wu Wei. Otherwise, we still wouldn't know how bold Diguan had become. Colluding with the Ding family, letting demonic beasts into the demon sealing pagoda, and then attempting to devour a Xian Mo. Wu Weizi shook his head. The UMO faction is a double-edged sword. If not handled well, it will harm both others and oneself. I don't have much longer to live. The rest is up to you. With that, he also left. And so, this major demonic beast riot finally subsided. The demon sealing cultivators suffered heavy casualties, even losing more than 5 golden core demon slayers. However, the Xian Mo of Tomb No. 1, King Yasha, was also successfully refined. You only heard the specific details much later. The time returns to half a year ago. A flying ship was speeding through the clouds. The ship was divided into several rooms. Yu was sitting cross-legged in a secret room, meditating. A yellow light flickered around him, and a thick layer of rock armor had even formed on his skin. After a long while, he suddenly opened his eyes. The rock armor on his body transformed into streams of yellow chi and entered his body. At this moment, the Earth Treasury secret art had already been cultivated to the mid-stage of foundation building, and the true yuan in his body had reached a full 5,000 points. According to Yu's estimation, an ordinary late-stage foundation building cultivator had about 1,500 points of true yuan. He now had more than 3 times that of an ordinary cultivator. A thought arose in Yu's mind. With my current strength, I should be able to kill an early-stage golden core sovereign. Yu's true yuan had reached over 6,000 points. An ordinary late-stage foundation building cultivator had about 1,500 points, and an ordinary early-stage golden core had about 5,000. Yu's total true yuan now exceeded that of an early-stage golden core, and his divine abilities and spells were far superior to an ordinary golden core's. So he was somewhat confident that if they really fought, he had a 90% chance of winning against an early-stage golden core expert. He even had the urge to find a golden core expert to test his skills. But he immediately extinguished the thought.
À 90% chance of success?
What was the difference between that and suicide? Yu suppressed the thought and took out a raw ore, continuing his cultivation. 2 months later, there was a knock on the door. Lord Wuchang, we've reached the Two Worlds Mountain. We're about to enter Songming Kingdom. This was the voice of Li Tiehu. Li Tiehu was a bald mid-stage foundation building cultivator, leading 18 iron demon-slaying guards with Yu.
Yu left the room.
Ahead, 2 great mountains stood tall, leaving only a crack in the middle, as if the heavens had been split in 2. The flying ship passed through the crack between the mountains. Yu immediately felt the environment around him change. The spiritual chi in the air became somewhat violent and seemed to be mixed with some special things. Yu was thoughtful, thinking to himself, the books were right. This Songming Kingdom is less a vassal state and more a semi-independent minor world, or a small grotto heaven. The flying ship continued to fly, crossing vast mountain ranges, and finally saw many villages and cities. Although Songming Kingdom was only a vassal state of Dali Kingdom, its area was not small. According to Yu's estimation, the territory of Songming Kingdom was about the size of 7 or 8 provinces of ancient China. Dali Kingdom itself was dozens of times larger than China. A few days later, the flying ship landed on a mountain top. On the mountain top was an elegant Taoist temple. Above it were 3 large characters, Xiao Lei Guan, Minor Thunder Temple. Yu stepped forward and gently knocked on the temple door. Yu of the Leiyang sect, a guest seeks an audience.
The door clicked open, and a white light shot out. A young Taoist priest landed from the white light.
He said happily, "Junior brother, you're finally here. Come in, have a seat." This young Taoist priest wore a blue Taoist robe, his eyes sharp and capable. And he was actually a golden core sovereign. But why did this person call him junior brother? Bai Yu cupped his hands in a salute. "I am Bai Yu of the Leong sect. I wonder."
The young Taoist priest looked. "Ah, junior brother, you don't know me yet, do you? My name is Ji King.
"I'm your fourth senior brother."
Master sent ma message, telling me to look after you.
He chatted warmly with Bai Yu while pulling him into the living room. "Xiao Nan, bring my Mao Jian spiritual tea. Xiao Bei, prepare some fruits and wine." Ji Chongqing had Bai Yu and the others sit down and drink tea. Bai Yu took a sip of the tea and immediately felt a lingering fragrance in his mouth. A faint spiritual power dissolved in his body. Bai Yu couldn't help but praise good tea. This tea must be at least 4th grade, right?
Ji King looked.
"Junior brother has a good eye. This is a local specialty, Leifeng Mao Jian. Only 1 catty is produced a year. Drinking it can remove poison, dispel evil qi, refresh the mind, and sharpen the eyes. Since junior brother likes it, I'll have Xiao Nan send half a catty to you later." This time, his senior brother was quite generous, giving away half a catty of spiritual tea. Bai Yu naturally couldn't be stingy either. He took out a raw ore and said, "I didn't expect to meet my 4th senior brother here and didn't prepare a special gift. Please accept this raw ore, senior brother." A raw ore was better than many pills and was a versatile gift.
It's impolite not to reciprocate a gift.
With a back and forth, a friendship was formed. The two of them had a very pleasant conversation. Ji Chongqing said, "Junior brother, from now on, rest in the temple.
This is your home.
In a few days, I'll take you to have an audience with the king of Songming and get a clearance certificate. Then you can travel freely." Before Bai Yu could answer, Li Tiehu beside him couldn't help it. "We are cultivators of the immortal path. Why do we need to see some king? It should be him coming to see us." Bai Yu was also a bit curious. In Dali Kingdom, let alone a foundation-building cultivator, even a qi-refining cultivator was respected by nobles and royalty. How did it sound from Ji Chongqing's words that the king of Songming had a high status? Ji Chongqing seemed to have expected their reaction. He smiled and said, "You may not know, but Songming Kingdom is not like Dali. Here, the human Tao flourishes. Besides the immortal Tao, the martial Tao and Confucian Tao are not weak at all. In the martial Tao, there are grandmasters comparable to foundation-building cultivators, and there are even rumors of martial gods. In the Confucian Tao, there are great scholars who can suppress all evil with a breath of righteous qi. Without a clearance certificate issued by the king, even we cultivators will have some inconvenience." Bai Yu was thoughtful, lost in thought. The next day, Ji Chongqing took Bai Yu and the others to the capital of Songming Kingdom, Jindu City, for an audience with the king. As soon as they entered Jindu City, Bai Yu felt an inexplicable pressure around him. Even the circulation of true yuan in his body became sluggish. The closer they got to the palace, the stronger this feeling became. He even had a feeling that if he fought near the palace, a small part of his strength would be suppressed. Thinking of this, Bai Yu secretly activated his Feng Shui AI. As expected, he saw that Jindu City was crisscrossed with earth qi. Streams of earth qi converged at the palace. Above the city, a cloud of fiery red luck covered most of the city. In the cloud of luck, a 4-clawed divine dragon coiled. A powerful pressure emanated from the divine dragon, spreading in all directions.
Impérial dragon cuit.
The divine dragon seemed to have sensed someone was probing it. It actually turned its head and looked in their direction, its aura becoming even more powerful. Bai Yu hurriedly retracted his gaze and continued to walk forward as if nothing had happened. An hour later, they met the king of Songming in the imperial garden. The king also had dragon qi shielding him, exuding a tiger's might. But what surprised Bai Yu the most was an old eunuch behind the king. The old eunuch looked old and frail, but he was actually a martial Tao grandmaster. Bai Yu smiled faintly to himself. "It seems my days in Songming Kingdom will be very interesting." The king and Bai Yu and the others exchanged salutes. The king on the spot infeft Bai Yu as a 3rd-rank kingdom-guarding true man and bestowed upon him a green jade clearance certificate, allowing him to travel freely within Songming Kingdom. After receiving the clearance certificate, Bai Yu settled down in Songming Kingdom. Compared to the demon ceiling pagoda, life here was much more relaxed. There were no mandatory tasks, and he didn't have to worry about being ambushed by demonic beasts. He would meditate in the mountains every day and occasionally hunt some game with Lao Mo to improve their diet. Today, the man and his dog set up a large pot in the mountains. In the pot were fresh mushrooms and chicken. The aroma was enticing. Next to it was a barbecue rack, roasting a half-wild pig, sizzling with oil. Bai Yu took a sip of Mao Jian spiritual tea, then a bite of mushrooms soaked in chicken soup. Lao Mo was gnawing on a large pork knuckle.
The mountain breeze was gentle, the scenery sereine.
The cool breeze was refreshing. This is better than being an immortal.
This is life. This is heaven. I am a minor immortal.
As Bai Yu and Lao Mo were enjoying their meal, a white light came from the horizon.
Junior brother, you're living kid the life.
As Bai Yu and Lao Mo were eating mushrooms and roast meat, living like immortals, Ji Chongqing landed in front of him.
Junior brother, you're living kid the life.
He didn't stand on ceremony, bringing his own bowl and chopsticks and sitting down. The mushrooms are delicious. So fresh. Junior brother, your cooking skills are top-notch.
No wonder master always talk about you.
After more than a year, Bai Yu and Ji Chongqing had become familiar with each other, and their conversations were very relaxed.
Bai Yu smiled.
Fourth senior brother, you're usually as elusive as a divine dragon. Why are you here today? Ji Chongqing threw him a jade slip.
A letter from master.
Take a look. Bai Yu took the jade slip and read it, his expression turning grave. Wuweizi mentioned in the jade slip that a riot had broken out in the demon ceiling pagoda. The losses were heavy. 6 golden core cultivators had fallen, including 1 late-stage golden core sovereign. More than half of the foundation building cultivators were dead or injured. Most of the people in Bai Yu's burial area know. 6 were dead or injured. Bai Yu couldn't help but feel relieved. It was a good thing he had gotten out early, otherwise, he would definitely be in danger. After he finished reading the jade slip, he said, I never expected such a big thing to happen in the demon ceiling pagoda. We're much better off out here. Ji Chongqing said, compared to the demon ceiling pagoda, it's indeed much more peaceful here. But there's been some trouble recently. I'm tied up, so I'll have to trouble you to make a trip, junior brother. For more than a year, Ji Chongqing had not bothered Bai Yu. For him to come now, it seemed something serious had happened. Bai Yu became interested.
Senior brother, what is the matter?
Ji Chongqing said, there have been a series of cases of pregnant women being murdered in Shizhou. The people from the 6 doors are completely stumped. They suspect it's related to demonic beasts or demonic cultivators. Bai Yu stroked his chin. Demonic beasts or demonic cultivators. Is there a difference? Ji Chongqing added another piece of mushroom. Demonic cultivators are actually humans who imitate demonic beasts in their cultivation. However, demonic cultivators generally don't dare to directly absorb demonic qi. They often use resentment, baleful qi, and other forces as substitutes. Both demonic beasts and demonic cultivators are very difficult to deal with.
Junior brother, you must be careful.
The demonic beasts here are several times more ferocious than those in the minor demon realm. Bai Yu nodded. Senior brother, rest assured, I understand. He also wanted to see what the difference in combat power was between the original demonic beasts and those in the minor demon realm. After Ji Chongqing finished the mushrooms, he stood up and suddenly said, Why am I a little dizzy? Junior brother, are your mushrooms poisonous? Bai Yu said, they shouldn't be.
How come I'm fin?
Lao Mo, did you taste any poison?
Lao Mo, woof woof.
No, I can guarantee there's absolutely no poison. Bai Yu, how do you know for sure?
Lao Mo, woof woof.
The mushrooms in the pot told me so personally.
Bai Yu, ah.
He coughed awkwardly. Well, the mushrooms shouldn't be the problem. Maybe they weren't cooked long enough. Ji Chongqing didn't pay it any mind and simply circulated his technique to resolve the poison. Half a day later, a flying ship flew out of Jindu City. On the ship, besides Bai Yu, were 3 other foundation building cultivators. One was named Nan Fubo, Ji Chongqing's disciple. There was also a monk and a Taoist priest, from 2 local sects in Songming Kingdom, Yuanfu Temple and Puhua Temple. The 3 introduced themselves and took their seats. Bai Yu said, Taoist-ine Master Fan, do you 2 have any information about this case? The Taoist-ine stroked his beard and said, Fellow Taoist Bai, this humble Taoist does have some news. It is said that the culprit in this case specifically targets pregnant women, and they always strike on the 1st and 15th of each month. Master Fan also said, Ba. I heard that the victims were all pregnant women born in a een year, een month, and een day. Pregnant women, een year, een month, een day. This does not bode well. At this moment, Taoist-ine added, this time, we will follow the lead of the Leong upper sect and listen to fellow Taoist Wuchang's orders. Compared to the Leong sect, Yuanfu Temple and Puhua Temple were both small sections. Their strongest members were only at the Golden Core realm. In this operation, the 2 sects would basically be cooperating with the Leong sect. But Bai Yu was unwilling to take the lead. I have just arrived and am not familiar with the local customs. How can I command you 2 fellow Taoists? Xiao Nan, you will be in command of this operation. Xiao Nan, also known as Nan Fubo, reluctantly agreed, yes, martial uncle. He was quite helpless. Although they had similar cultivation levels and looked about the same age, he had to call Bai Yu martial uncle. This was truly unbearable. Bai Yu entrusted Nan Fubo with the command and returned to his secret room to begin his daily cultivation. He secretly circulated the Earth Treasury secret art, and a thick layer of rock armor instantly formed on his body. In the past year, he had already cultivated the Earth Treasury secret art to the great perfection of foundation building. He was a bit surprised at how fast his cultivation technique had progressed. But after a little thought, he understood. Previously, cultivating the first technique was like getting into college from scratch through his own efforts. Now, cultivating an auxiliary earth attribute technique was like a college graduate going back to elementary and middle school. The speed was naturally much faster. Of course, the main reason was the large amount of pills and raw ores, especially the raw ores. This stuff could be directly converted into cultivation power and was extremely precious. With all these factors combined, it was natural for his cultivation to progress rapidly. Baiyu took a deep breath and began to cultivate the next technique, the Tai-Bai sword art. As long as he achieved perfection in all 5 elements, he could begin to break through to the golden core realm. Baiyu smiled faintly and began his arduous cultivation. 2 days later, they arrived at the capital of Shizhou. As soon as they entered the city, Baiyu felt a gaze fall on him, then quickly flicker away. He remained impassive and used his wind-listening ear. All he heard was the noisy sound of people. There was nothing unusual. The group did not delay and went straight to the provincial government office. The provincial governor, Li Ziyun, personally came out to greet them, calling them immortal masters. Baiyu secretly activated his feng shui AI and saw that the luck above the governor's head had condensed into the shape of a large seal. The governor was about to host a banquet for them when Nan Fubo waved his hand. "Governor, let's cut the pleasantries. Take us to see the victims." Soon, they arrived at a morgue.
Inside les tricorps, all female.
Their faces were twisted, and their stomachs had been cut open, the baby's inside ripped out. Even a piece of the umbilical cord was still attached. Baiyu impassively sniffed the air and secretly activated his feng shui AI.
Blood cuit, balful cuit.
But no demonic qi. It should be a demonic cultivator. But finding the culprit will not be easy. At this moment, Nan Fubo took out a bronze tripod. On the outside of the tripod were carved 8 dragons, corresponding to the 8 directions. He made a grabbing motion over the deceased's body, took a wisp of aura, and threw it into the tripod. Then he formed a seal and chanted an incantation. After a moment, the eyes of the dragon corresponding to the northeast direction lit up. The golden dragon tripod has a reaction. In the northeast.
Let's go catch the culprit.
Baiyu and his group followed the golden dragon tripod and shot towards the northeast. Not long after they flew out, the dragon on the south side of the golden dragon tripod began to glow red. They had to change direction. For the rest of the time, the direction indicated by the tripod was sometimes east, sometimes west, sometimes southeast, northwest. They were running around like headless chickens. Nan Fubo said helplessly, "Either there is more than one culprit, or they have a special method to block their aura, leading us around in circles. We can't lock onto the enemy with just the golden dragon tripod." Baiyu suggested, "In that case, why don't the 4 of us each take 2 chi refining iron guards and search separately?" This time, besides the 4 foundation building cultivators, there were also 8 chi refining iron guards responsible for errands and other miscellaneous tasks. Nan Fubo thought for a moment. That's the only way. Taoist Yin of Yuanfu Temple took out 4 talismans. This humble Taoist is skilled in talisman crafting. These 4 sound-linking talismans are a set. Any one of them can listen to the messages of the other 3. I suggest we each take one and contact each other immediately if anything happens. No one would object. Baiyu took the sound-linking talisman and examined it briefly. He found that this talisman was much more exquisite than a normal sound transmission talisman. Some of the runes were ingeniously designed, something he had never seen before. It seemed that Yuanfu Temple's talisman arts were quite unique. He put away the sound-linking talisman, chose 2 chi refining iron guards, and headed east to investigate. Baiyu released his divine sense and gradually scanned his surroundings. His divine sense could at most cover a distance of 50 yards, any further and he couldn't cover it completely. As he walked, he didn't find anything unusual. The people coming and going were all ordinary people. Occasionally, there were some stronger ones, but they were just martial artists. He didn't even find a single cultivator. The martial artists in Songming Kingdom were quite different from those in Dali Kingdom. Besides qi and blood, their bodies seemed to have another kind of energy. Of course, now was not the time to investigate this. Baiyu successively used his feng shui eye, wind-listening ear, and even the spirit-calling brush, but unfortunately, he found nothing. Especially the wind-listening ear, its effectiveness was greatly reduced in the bustling city. The noisy sounds of people were mixed together, making it difficult to investigate in detail. And so, until late at night, they met again at the provincial government office. Unfortunately, none of the 4 had found anything. Nan Fubo said, "Let's all rest for today. Tomorrow, we will notify the provincial governor to mobilize the city's constables and soldiers to search door to door." Master Fan chanted a Buddhist mantra, Amitba. "Tomorrow is the 15th. The culprit usually strikes on the night of the 15th. We must find the culprit as soon as possible, or someone else will fall victim." Taoistine listened and said, "We 4 have searched so thoroughly today. The culprit probably won't dare to strike again soon, right?" They discussed for a while and then returned to their rooms. Bai took advantage of the late night to use his wind-listening ear, trying to find something. In the next room, Master Fan was chanting sutras in a low voice. In Daoist Yin's room, snores could already be heard. And Nan Fubo was giving orders.
J'y abat, you two secretly guard the east gate.
If there's any movement, report immediately. Bingxi, Bingwu, you are in charge of the south gate.
Ding San.
Bai smiled faintly. It seemed that Nan Fubo was just as bold, meticulous, and capable as his master. With such a teammate, he felt more at ease. After investigating for a while, Bai felt sleepy. Maintaining his divine sense outside all day was very draining, as if he had rewarded himself 10 times in a row. No, I must recover to my best state as soon as possible, so I can search for the culprit tomorrow. He set up several large formations in his room and had Lao Mo stand guard before falling into a deep sleep. The next morning, he was awakened by a hurried knock on the door.
Something is wrong. Something happened again.
Bai Yu's expression changed slightly. He quickly got up. In the main hall, a middle-aged constable bowed to them. Immortal Masters, I am Hu Yi Dao, the chief constable of Shizhou. Last night, at midnight, another pregnant woman was killed in Tongzi Alley in the east of the city. Bai Yu's heart sank. According to past experience, the culprit should have waited until tonight to strike. He never expected them to strike early this time. Nan Fubo and the others also had grim expressions. The 4 of them had just searched everywhere during the day, and the culprit struck at night. This was simply audacious, a blatant provocation to the 4 of them. Nan Fubo said in a deep voice, Chief Constable Hu, take us to the scene. Soon, they arrived at Tongzi Alley. Heart-wrenching cries came from a courtyard. When they arrived at the scene, they saw a thin woman lying in a bedroom. Her eyes were wide open, and a large hole had been torn in her stomach. The baby inside seemed to have been ripped out. There was even half a piece of umbilical cord left inside. In one of her hands, she clutched a small shoe. Next to her was another finished shoe, embroidered with a cute little tiger. In the courtyard, the deceased's father, holding back his grief, answered their questions. Last night, I got up to relieve myself.
My docteur.
She was making little shoes for her grandson by candlelight.
Hier da knock on the door.
Someone asked me, my child is lost, have you seen him? I thought it was a neighbor and planned to help look for him tomorrow. But when I turned around, my daughter. She had been harmed.
Chief Constable, you must avenge my docteur.
Nan Fubo's face was so dark it could drip water. He once again brandished the golden dragon tripod, trying to search for the culprit. However, this time, the golden dragon tripod didn't react at all. Bai Yu secretly circulated his feng shui eye and captured a faint trace of blood baleful qi at the scene. This blood baleful qi was cold and evil, chilling to the bone. He pretended to examine the scene and collected that wisp of blood baleful qi, firmly remembering its aura in his mind. But just based on this wisp of qi, finding the culprit was like finding a needle in a haystack. Bai Yu sighed and played a mournful tune on his suona. Daoist Yin and Master Fan chanted the sutra for resolving grievances and removing sins, and the rebirth mantra, respectively. Burial of Zhao Xiaoni successful.
Roar, QIN blood +3, life experience +4. Burial participation, immortal.
No optional rewards. The basic reward was not high, but the most important thing was that Bai Yu could view her memory fragments. Zhao Xiaoni's life was very ordinary. She was born ordinary, grew up ordinary, and then married her childhood friend, Hualang Lu Erniu. Life was hard, but with the help of both their parents, it was still manageable. Half a year ago, Zhao Xiaoni became pregnant. Lu Erniu decided to go on a long journey to save some money for their unborn child. Later, Lu Erniu borrowed some money and returned, even sending a message back. He had earned money, and he could come back when the child was born. Zhao Xiaoni was full of anticipation and personally made a full set of small clothes and shoes for the child. The child was about to be born, her husband had earned money, and the family was about to be reunited. Life was ordinary but happy. Until last night, a white shadow floated into the room. Its long hair hung down, obscuring its face. A large hole was torn in its stomach, blood pouring out.
My child is gone. Give me back my child.
Then, it pounced on her. This was Zhao Xiaoni's last memory. Nan Fubo quietly waited for them to finish chanting the sutras. He said in a deep voice, let's go. We're going to see someone. He will definitely have a clue. The case happened again, and a group of people were clueless. At this moment, Nan Fubo said, let's go find someone. He will definitely know the clues. Bai Yu asked curiously, who? Is there another cultivator in Nanbu City? Nan Fubo said, the city god of the provincial capital.
The city god.
Nan Fubo explained, Martial Uncle, you grew up in Dali and may not be familiar with the affairs of Songming Kingdom. There is a path of incense and fire gods here. And the incense and fire gods are most sensitive to what happens within their own domain.
Bai Yu sudanli understood.
The path of incense and fire gods. This was something that had never existed in Dali Kingdom. It was like Uncle Gio, Although he was worshipped by the people, he couldn't truly become a god. As they spoke, they arrived at the city god temple. The city god temple was not large and looked a bit dilapidated, but early in the morning, many people were already there offering incense and praying. They entered the inner courtyard and saw a human-sized statue of the city god. The city god wore iron armor and had a bow and arrow at his waist. He was dressed as a military general. Nan Fubo took out a 5 thunder token and chanted an incantation. Nan Fubo of Shaolei Guan summons the city god of Shizhou City. Strangely enough, the statue in front of them emitted a brilliant light, and a faint figure walked out of the statue. This lowly god Yan Xiong, the city god of Shizhou City, greets the immortal masters. Bai Yu is very interested. This city god of Shizhou seemed to be a soul body, quite similar to a Yin soul or ghost. Perhaps it was a special kind of ghost cultivator. From his aura, his strength was probably around the late stage of qi refining. However, the cloud of luck above his head was red, which should correspond to foundation building strength. Nan Fubo said, General Yen, yesterday I instructed you to secretly monitor the city.
A murder indeed happened last night.
Do you have any news? The city god, Yan Xiong, looked troubled. To the immortal masters, this lowly god did not rest all night, but I really didn't find any clues. These fiends are really tricky. Otherwise, this lowly god would not have requested the immortal masters to come. Nan Fubo's expression froze. He never expected that after setting up 2 layers of backup plans last night, neither of them worked. Even the city god didn't find the culprit. On the other hand, Bai Yu looked at the somewhat dilapidated statue and was lost in thought. This city god might not want Bai Yu and the others to find the enemy. In his past life, there was a saying in his hometown, a god is not effective without ghosts. This saying had 2 meanings. One was that a true god also had to recruit mountain spirits and ghosts as his soldiers to be effective in his work. The second meaning was that if there were no ghosts causing trouble, the people would not worship the gods every day. If the incense was not flourishing, the god would naturally not be effective. For the city god of Shizhou, the strange events in Shizhou actually made his incense more prosperous. Bai Yu took a step forward and said flatly, as a city god, you receive offerings from all directions but cannot protect the people. For so many days, so many cases of cutting open abdomens and taking babies have occurred, yet you have no clues at all. When I return to Jindu City, I will definitely report this to the king of Songming. He showed his 3rd-rank kingdom-guarding true man's green jade clearance certificate. Since the city god walked the path of gods, he had to collect incense and faith. This was his weakness. Once the king declared him an evil god, it would cause devastating damage to the city god. Of course, Bai Yu wasn't actually familiar with the king of Songming, but it was still useful for bluffing. General Yen, think carefully. Has there been anything unusual in the city recently? The city god, Yan Xiong, thought for a moment. To the immortal masters, this lowly god's strength is low, and I really don't know the clues of the culprit. But if you have to say something unusual, there is a dilapidated temple on Longshou Mountain outside the South City. It seems a bit strange. This lowly god has felt a dangerous aura inside it several times. As expected, after being bluffed by Bai Yu, the city god finally told the truth. They listened and quickly rushed to the dilapidated temple south of the city. As soon as they got close to the dilapidated temple, Bai Yu felt a cold and gloomy aura, exactly the same as the blood-baleful qi he had felt on the deceased Zhao Xiaoni. Above the dilapidated temple, there was a faint black qi lingering. The 4 of them looked at each other and all sensed that something was unusual about the dilapidated temple. Nan Fubo gave an order, and the 8 qi refining iron guards, holding formation flags, set up a large formation and surrounded the dilapidated temple. Master Fan released several bronze arhats and controlled them to attack the dilapidated temple first. A swarm of bats flew out of the dilapidated temple. They jumped into the temple and found that it was already empty. After searching for a while, they found a secret room. In the secret room was a blood pool, full of stinking blood. Near the inside was a statue with 3 hands and 8 arms. But the statue's body was covered with talismans drawn in cinnabar. Chains were wrapped around its large arms, and talismans were also stuck on its 3 heads, covering its eyes. Nan Fubo said, it seems to be a demonic cultivator. Only demonic cultivators would worship such a demon statue. They want to borrow the power of the demon but don't want to be truly possessed by it, so they seal the demon statue with talismans. Bai Yu nodded slightly. He had heard that the path of demonic cultivation was like walking on the edge of a knife. Because demons and demonic qi themselves represented chaos and madness. If a demonic cultivator was not careful, their temperament would change drastically, and their intelligence would even decrease, turning them into madmen who only knew how to kill. Bai Yu went forward and took a bit of incense ash from the offering table and smelled it. The incense ash still had the residual smell of sandalwood. It had been burned within a day. Nan Fubo said, Martial Uncle, are you saying the demonic cultivators just left? Bai Yu nodded.
Yes, within a day.
It's possible they left right before or after we arrived, so they didn't even have time to take the demon statue with them. They searched the nearby mountain again but still found nothing. It was as if this group of demonic cultivators had just disappeared, leaving no trace behind. They had no choice but to destroy the dilapidated temple and return. On the way back, Bai Yu's mind was racing. He had a question. How did the demonic cultivators know they would go to Longshou Mountain? And how did they avoid the Golden Dragon tripod search? Was it east? Was it west? Was there a mole? Or had they been monitored from the beginning? Thinking of this, Bai Yu had an idea. When he returned to his lodging, he suddenly said, I'm so tired today.
I want to go with you tomorrow.
I'll just wander around by myself. If you find the demonic cultivators, let me know. Nan Fubo and the others looked at each other. They had only been investigating for 2 days, and Bai Yu was already quitting. However, they didn't dare to have an opinion. In terms of seniority, Bai Yu was Nan Fubo's martial uncle, so Nan Fubo couldn't say anything. As for Taoist Yin and Master Fan, they were even less in a position to speak. He was a disciple of the Leiyang upper sect, naturally a cut above them. Nan Fubo couldn't object and said, then let Ding San follow martial uncle and run errands. If you need anything, just tell him. He thought to himself, perhaps martial uncle wants to search alone. The next day, Bai Yu went out early in the morning. Nan Fubo nodded to himself. It seemed that his martial uncle still wanted to do some real work. In the morning, Nan Fubo and the others led the constables and soldiers to search door to door. At this time, Ding San sent back a message. Brother Nan, Senior Bai has gone to the brothel. Bai Yu went out early in the morning. He first took Lao Mo for a walk, bought a few big meat buns, and then had a bowl of beef noodle soup with chili powder. He ate until he was sweating all over. It was so comfortable. Bai Yu stretched.
This is what I call life.
All this running around and fighting is no good.
Lao Mo, woof woof.
Life is about eating good food. And another bowl of soy milk. After Bai Yu and Lao Mo were full, they began to wander around. On the way, he saw many unemployed young ladies, who couldn't even afford decent clothes. They stood outside their doors, scantily clad, waiting for help. It was truly pitiful. Bai Yu was immediately filled with pity. The ancient said, the successful should help the world. I must go and help these young ladies. With a great sense of mission, he resolutely stepped into the Yihong courtyard. A voluptuous madam greeted him with a smile. Guest, you've arrived.
Please, come inside. You look unfamiliar. May I know your name? Bai Yu, my name is Lu Béchamp.
The madam naturally put her arm around Bai Yu's and said with a smile, so it's young Master Lu.
What kind of girl are you looking for, young Master Lu?
We have all kinds of flavors here. From young girls who have just come of age to good family girls who have just entered the profession, to mature women who know how to please a man. Bai Yu casually threw out a silver ingot.
Get me 3 gentle sisters.
I want to realize a childhood dream. Oh, and get me a masseuse to loosen up my dog's muscles. The madam took the silver and beamed, leading Bai Yu to an elegant private room. While Bai Yu was enjoying himself in the Yihong courtyard, Nan Fubo was dumbfounded.
Martial uncle.
He went to a brothel. He never expected his martial uncle to pull such a stunt. Cultivators should be pure of heart and few in desires. Demon-slaying cultivators, in particular, should be vigilant and avoid the world of mortals. They were here working their asses off, searching for demonic cultivators, and his martial uncle was off drinking and whoring. The key was, if he went at any other time, it would be fine. But this was during a mission. Was he that desperate? Wasn't this just making the Leiyang sect a laughingstock? Nan Fubo's face was dark. Taoist Yin and Master Fan looked at their noses and their hearts, pretending not to have heard anything. Disciples of large sects were naturally a bit arrogant. As long as they weren't killing and setting fires, it was fine.
What is a little ring?
At least he was still spending money. It wasn't their place as a small sect to say anything. Taoist Yin changed the subject. Nan Dao, we've already searched several streets and still haven't found any clues.
What do you think?
Nan Fubo snorted coldly.
Keep searching.
We must find the demonic cultivators before the 1st of next month. In the Lisun court, a woman said with a sob, Young Master Lu, please spare me. Another woman said, yes, Pingjie is right.
Young Master Lu, you're too amazing. We sisters can't take it anymore.
How about we don't charge you this time, and you go find someone else? Bai Yu flatly refused.
No.
We agreed to fight until dawn. At this moment, Bai Yu had finally realized his dream of finding 3 or 5 beautiful women to play mahjong all night. On the table, a pile of silver was in front of him. The 3 beauties' piles were clean. They had lost all their silver. They were all on the verge of tears. This young Master Lu was very generous. The overnight fee was 10 taels. A group of them had fought to accompany him. Who knew that after a day, they had not only lost the 10 taels but had also lost a few taels each. A voluptuous beauty put her arm around Bai Yu's and said pitifully, Young Master Lu, I've lost everything. I really can't go on. She leaned close to Bai Yu's ear and whispered, how about this, for every round we sisters lose, we take off 1 piece of clothing until we're naked. Bai Yu flatly refused.
No.
What piece of clothing is worth 1 tael of silver? The three women looked pained and begged Baiyu coquettishly. Then how about this? For every round you win, you tell us a story. Pingjie, you go first this time. The beautiful woman called Pingjie looked pained.
Young master, I only know how to play instrument en singulier.
I don't know any stories. Baiyu said, it's okay. Any story you've heard is fine.
Romance, ghosts and monsters, it's all fine.
For example, the handsome man and the city god, or Hu Yi Dao, the chief constable, or the chivalrous heroes in the city. There must be some stories circulating. Pingjie hesitated for a moment and said, I do know a little about that.
Il tell the young master a story.
She stretched out her fair and soft hand and gently stroked Baiyu's hand.
If you don't tell it well, please don't be angry, young master. Tell me, it's fine.
Pingjie cleared her throat and began to tell the story. Originally, there was no city god in Shizhou City. The current city god, General Yan, was originally a rebel general of the previous dynasty. He was beheaded on Longshou Mountain outside the city. There is still a general's dilapidated temple on the mountain. Later, some people who planted things there dreamed of General Yan asking them to build a golden statue for him. The temple gradually gained some incense. Baiyu held a two of bamboo tile in his hand and listened to Pingjie's story. Later, when war broke out, General Yan's incense became more and more prosperous. Until the founding emperor of this dynasty pacified the world, he infected General Yan as the city god of Shizhou City. However, after that, the incense of the city god temple began to decline. Later, a few things happened. The general showed his fox tail. After a story was told, the four of them started playing mahjong again. Pingjie and the others were in high spirits. They won silver, and if they lost, they just had to tell a story. It seemed that this gentleman was really not short of money. A day passed quickly. Nan Fubo and the others had worked hard all day but still had not found anything. Baiyu, on the other hand, returned drunk with Lao Mo. Nan Fubo wanted to say something several times but held back. For the next few days, they continued their painstaking search. Baiyu's days were simple, plain, and boring. Day 17, nothing to do today, went to the brothel to listen to music. Day 18, in a good mood, went to the brothel to celebrate. Day 19, in a bad mood, went to the brothel to relieve boredom. Day 23, Baiyu, oh Baiyu, you are here to rid the people of harm. How can you be so depraved? Day 24, went to the brothel to listen to music. The days passed one by one. The first of next month was getting closer and closer. Nan Fubo and the others, with the constables and soldiers, had almost turned Shizhou City upside down, but they still hadn't found any useful clues. In a hidden secret room somewhere in the city, a demonic cultivator in a black robe was reporting to a man and a woman. Sir, madam, news has come from outside. Those cultivators have searched several times with their men but have found nothing. A fat, ugly woman with a face full of flesh asked, what about those foundation-building cultivators? The black-robed man replied, the three led by Nan Fubo search all day to no avail. The other one is a frequenter of the brothels. I heard he slept with all the girls in the Yihong courtyard. The ugly woman sneered coldly. It's almost the first of the month. We'll do something big this time. That thing is almost ready. The days passed, and the demonic cultivators were still nowhere to be found. Nan Fubo and the others were anxious. Baiyu, on the other hand, was more and more leisurely. Taoist Yin and Master Fan were very uneasy. This time, if it was just a demonic cultivator, it would be fine. But if it involved a demonic beast, it had to be nipped in the bud. Otherwise, the more the demonic beast grew, the greater the harm would be. But they didn't dare to say anything to Baiyu. They could only hint at Nan Fubo. Taoist Yin said, Nan Dao, it's the 29th of the 8th month.
In another day, the demonic cultivator will strike again. What do you think?
Should we discuss it with fellow Taoist Bai? Nan Fubo grew more and more displeased. Martial uncle is really so thoughtless. He has to go to the brothel at this time. This is just smearing the face of the Leiyang sect. But he said, Martial uncle has his own way of doing things. You act according to the plan. I will go and talk to Martial uncle. On this day, Baiyu once again sauntered out. Nan Fubo finally couldn't take it anymore and stopped him.
Martial uncle, please wait a moment.
I have something to discuss with you. Baiyu, if you have something to say it quickly. I'm busy. Nan Fubo said, Martial uncle, tomorrow is the 30th. We have decided to stay on guard at the provincial government office from tomorrow morning until the night after. In these few days, although Nan Fubo and the others had not found any clues about the demonic cultivators, they had not been idle. They had found all the pregnant women in the city who were born in a Yin year, Yin month, and Yin day, and had them all moved to the government office for protection. The government office had the imperial dragon Qi to suppress it. Ordinary cultivators who entered would have their strength greatly reduced. Nan Fubo and the others' plan was to wait for the rabbit, to see if those demonic cultivators dared to attack the government office.
Baiyu, you try juste sit there.
Do you think those demonic cultivators would dare to attack the government office? You go ahead and get busy. I still have to go and save the fallen women of the Ihong courtyard. After saying that, Bai Yu ignored Nan Fubo and went straight out of the government office. Nan Fubo held back his anger and said, "Martial uncle, at this critical moment, don't tarnish the name of our Leiyang sect." Bai Yu sneered. "Are you telling me what to do? I've been burying people my whole life."
Can't y enjoy myself for once.
He took Lao Mo and went straight into the Ihong courtyard, found a few girls, and continued the music and dancing. Nan Fubo was furious, gritting his teeth, but he couldn't do anything about Bai Yu. He could only arrange his defenses more tightly.
Almost at the same time, in a secret room, a black-robed man came again.
"Sir, madam, Nan Fubo's side has started to make arrangements. They have moved all the pregnant women born in a year, month, day to the government office." The fat, ugly woman asked, "Are all 4 foundation building cultivators lying in ambush at the government office?" The black-robed man said, "That Bai Yu is still at the Ihong courtyard. He even had a fight with Nan Fubo." The ugly woman sneered coldly. "They're still fighting amongst themselves at a time like this.
What Leiyang upper sect?
They're just a bunch of idiots. And that Bai Yu, going to the Ihong courtyard every day, he's a lecherous ghost." At this moment, a thin old man next to the ugly woman said, "We must be careful. Send someone to keep an eye on him at the Ihong courtyard." The black-robed man nodded.
I understand.
"Tomorrow night, we will act according to your signal." The time finally came to the 30th. The red moon sank in the west, and night enveloped the entire Shizhou city. Nan Fubo and the others became more and more vigilant. From this moment on, the demonic cultivators could strike at any time. They set up open and hidden sentries, surrounding the government office. At the same time, Bai Yu was still in the Ihong courtyard, continuing the music and dancing. In a private room opposite, a man with a pockmarked face looked at the shadow on the door opposite and a smile appeared on his lips. Truly a stubborn fool from a large sect.
Incurable.
After we finish this thing, we'll be long gone. He impassively took out a sound transmission talisman. "Madam, sir, no abnormalities here. You can make your move." The government office was still quiet.
Suddenly, a commotion and the sound of fighting came from the east of the city.
Nan Fubo snorted coldly. "A mere diversionary tactic, and you dare to use it on me." He had made up his mind. For the next 2 days, no matter what happened elsewhere, he would not go out. However, a moment later, a yamen runner rushed in. "Master, it's bad. Several pregnant women have been killed in the east of the city. The city god is fighting the demonic cultivators with a team of spirit soldiers. He ordered me to come for help." Before Nan Fubo could speak, Daoistine said, "Nonsense. All the pregnant women born in a year, month, day are in the government office." The yamen runner said anxiously, "The city god said that the victims this time were all pregnant women born in a young year, young month, and young day. And the number of people killed is more than all the previous times combined." Nan Fubo's expression changed drastically. "Damn it. We've fallen into a mental trap. The victims in the past were all year pregnant women, but that doesn't mean that pregnant women other than them are useless to them. And it doesn't mean they will always need year pregnant women." Daoistine and Master Fan looked at each other and also felt that the situation was becoming more and more serious. Now they were in a dilemma. If they didn't go out and let the demonic cultivators kill the young year pregnant women, who knew what the consequences would be? But if they went out, the year pregnant women in the government office might be in danger. A golden light flashed in Nan Fubo's eyes, and he quickly made a decision. He slammed his hand on the table.
"We can't let them kill the pregnant women outside like this."
Daoistine said, "What if we fall into the demonic cultivators' diversionary trap?" Nan Fubo said, "Daoistine, you and I will take half the constables and go. At the same time, order the provincial general to send troops. As for Master Fan, you will stay here with the 8 Qi refining iron guards. Under no circumstances should you go out. With the dragon Qi suppression and the formation, even if the demonic cultivators attack, Master Fan can handle it." Daoistine and Master Fan secretly praised him. As expected of a talent from the Leiyang upper sect. Quick to react, decisive, and good at making decisions. In comparison, Bai Yu, who was still whoring at a time like this, was a complete disappointment. After Nan Fubo made his decision, he immediately led his men out of the government office with Daoistine. Soon, the sound of fighting echoed outside, and not just in one place. It seemed that fighting had broken out in both the east and south of the city. Master Fan sat in the main hall of the government office, chanting a Buddhist mantra. In front of him was a transparent sensing pearl, corresponding to the formation in the government office. If the formation was triggered, this sensing pearl would give a warning. He believed that in the government office, which was suppressed by Dragon Qi, unless it was a golden core cultivator, it was impossible to sneak in unnoticed.
Suddenly, the sensing pearl let out a sharp cry.
A group of red dots appeared in the southwest direction.
Amitabha.
They've come after all. Let's see this poor monk perform demon slaying today. He put the sensing pearl in his robes and hurried to the southwest corner. As expected, in the southwest corner, a foundation-building demonic cultivator was leading a few people, trying to break the protective formation. Master Fan brandished a string of prayer beads and fought with the demonic cultivator with his men. However, at this time, a Yaman runner was impassively heading towards the main hall where the pregnant women were. A mocking smile appeared on his lips. The Imperial Dragon Chi can indeed restrain demonic cultivators, but what if the intruder is not a cultivator, but a martial Dao Grandmaster? In the dark night, a Yaman runner skillfully moved through the provincial government office. His figure was large, but he was incredibly agile. The original guards had already been taken away, and the battle in the southwest corner had drawn away more guards. The fat Yaman runner was like in an unguarded land. He didn't encounter anyone on the way. He even seemed to know the key points of the formation set up by Nan Fubo and the others. He didn't encounter any obstacles on the way. Not long after, he arrived at the main hall where the pregnant women were being housed. A cold smile appeared on his lips.
What bullshit, immortal master?
They're still being played by us. 3 foundation-building cultivators have been lured away, and another is drinking in a brothel. A bunch of idiots. After we finish this big job tonight, you won't be able to find a single hair of us. With that, he knocked on the door of the main hall of the government office.
A vigilant voice came from inside.
Who is it? Water delivery. Water delivery. Sister, this is not a small matter to arrange for the pregnant women. Nonfu is very thoughtful. Water delivery, food delivery, midwives, doctors, even those who empty the chamber pots, all these have been considered. But this also left an opportunity for the enemy. Creak. The door of the main hall was opened. A beautiful woman with a hint of gloom on her face, holding her belly, walked over and asked, "You look unfamiliar." The Yaman runner showed a strange smile. "Because I'm here to take your lives." The next moment, Gang Chi erupted from his hands, condensing into a claw. The soul-breaking claw, an incomparably sharp claw, struck fiercely at the pregnant woman. The pregnant woman's face turned pale, and she watched helplessly as the sharp claw struck her protruding belly. Clang.
A sound of metal striking metal rent out. The soul-breaking claw struck the pregnant woman's belly, sparks flying.
But not a single white mark was left on her belly. How is that possible? The Yaman runner shrieked. He subconsciously jumped back, landing on a rockery 10 yards away. He shouted, "No, you're not a pregnant woman. You're not pregnant."
The pregnant woman logged. I am pregnant.
With lamb skewers and pork knuckles. The pregnant woman's face changed, and she actually transformed into Bai Yu's appearance. The Yaman runner seemed to recognize Bai Yu and cried out, "Weren't you drinking in the Ihong courtyard?" Bai Yu sneered. "As expected. Our movements were all under your control." As soon as he entered Shizhou City, he felt a sense of being watched. And the time they went to the dilapidated temple and found it empty, it was obvious that someone had tipped them off in advance. There was no way to act. So Bai Yu pretended to be lecherous and dissolute, getting drunk in the Ihong courtyard, and even deliberately had a dispute with Nan Fubo. It wasn't until tonight, when the city was in chaos, that he replaced himself with a demonic shadow clone, while his true body secretly used an earth technique to return and disguise himself as a pregnant woman. The fat Yaman runner's eyes suddenly flashed with a fierce light. "So we still underestimated you."
A pity you still made a mistake.
As he spoke, Gang Chi erupted from his body, and a bat-like martial soul appeared. The bat let out a strange cry, and a visible sound wave spread out in all directions. The powerful sound wave instantly hit Bai Yu. "You underestimated the martial Dao of this world. Within 10 yards, a martial artist is invincible." The fat Yaman runner, like a hunting fly, instantly crossed the 10-yard distance, black chi surging on his arm, and threw a fierce punch at Bai Yu. However, at that moment, Bai Yu recovered from the shock of the sound wave. He also raised his hand and threw a punch. Boom.
The two fists collided in the air.
A white shockwave spread out in all directions, exploding like firecrackers. Crack.
Bang.
A crisp sound came from the fat Yaman runner's arm, and then his entire arm exploded into powder. He was sent flying back, crashing into the rockery, sending stones and dust flying. Bai Yu chased after him and said with a slight smile, "Unfortunately, I am also a martial artist."
From the dust, a black bat shot into the sky, trying to escape.
It was furious. "Damn it. How is that possible? Your strength can actually crush me." The punch Bai Yu had just thrown had directly destroyed his will to fight. He had wanted to take advantage of the fact that cultivators were not good at close combat and attack him up close. Who knew that Bai Yu's punch had almost knocked the soul out of him? "Fortunately, I have a bat martial soul.
No one can match my short-distance escape speed."
The fat Yaman runner secretly rejoiced. He fled quickly while shooting a signal flare into the sky. Behind him, Bai Yu's figure was like an ape, leaping and leaving after images.
King Gong, Lin Juan Ying.
The next moment, he appeared behind the fat Yaman runner and threw a fierce punch.
Demon Star Fist.
This punch slammed into the Yaman runner. A wave of concussive force directly entered his body, shattering all his bones and major acupoints. His body instantly turned into a pile of mud, with only his head still intact. If he wanted to fully recover, he would have to be amputated from the neck down. 8-gate seal, release. Bai Yu unhesitatingly threw a sealing technique at him, then stuck a large number of sealing talismans on him. A brilliant signal flare exploded in the sky. The demonic cultivators in the city were immediately alerted. Damn it! Zhou Wufu has failed. Retreat. In an instant, the group of demonic cultivators retreated cleanly. Nan Fubo and the others chased after them for a while, but to no avail. Bai Yu also took out the sound-linking talisman and sent a message to the others. Not long after, Master Fayan was the first to return.
Amitabha.
Fellow Taoist Bai, what are you doing here? Weren't you at
Bayus Miled.
Those young ladies in the Ihong courtyard were no match for me.
I came back to practice on Someon.
Master Fayan naturally didn't believe Bai Yu's nonsense. His gaze towards Bai Yu immediately changed. So his debauched behavior in the past few days was all an act. He had even deceived them. This fellow Taoist Bai was truly unfathomable. A moment later, Nan Fubo and Taoist Yin also arrived. When Nan Fubo saw the person on the ground, a chill ran down his spine. They had all fallen for the trap. If this person had succeeded, dozens of pregnant women would have been harmed. By concentrating the pregnant women, they had instead become accomplices to the demonic cultivators. Nan Fubo bowed deeply to Bai Yu. Martial uncle, I was reckless before and failed to understand your good intentions. I apologize to you here. Bai Yu smiled faintly. To make the act complete, he had not even revealed his plan to Nan Fubo. It was natural for Nan Fubo to be dissatisfied.
What is past is past.
Next, let's hurry up and deal with the demonic cultivators. Bai Yu pointed to the fat man on the ground. Who among you knows interrogation techniques? I just tried. This guy has a restriction in his body that resists soul searching. It can't be broken in 2 or 3 days. Nan Fubo hurriedly said, Martial uncle, rest assured. Even without soul searching, I can crack his mouth open in half a day.
Ding san, ding si, comme wisme.
After this night, they finally understood Bai Yu's plan. Anyone who heard it couldn't help but secretly praise his intelligence and methods. If it weren't for Bai Yu's move, they would have all been played by the demonic cultivators. The rest was simple. Now that they had caught a demonic cultivator's accomplice, as long as they interrogated him and found out the whereabouts of the others, they could uproot the demonic cultivators. Under Nan Fubo's interrogation, the fat man continuously revealed information. Zhou Wufu, 46 years old, chief instructor of the Baiqing Martial Arts Hall. Bai Yu had already changed back into his male attire. He listened to the constant reports from the Qi refining iron guard, Ding Ci. He suddenly said, if I remember correctly, the Zhou family has some influence in Shizhou City. Zhou Wufu has an older brother, Zhou Sanyuan, who is a strategist under the provincial governor, Li Ziyun. He hadn't really been doing nothing in the Ihong courtyard all these days. He had been gathering all kinds of information from the prostitutes and patrons. If you wanted to know where the most information was, it was naturally in the brothels. All sorts of people came and went, and the information they revealed in their daily conversations was a sea of information. After half a month, Bai Yu's understanding of Shizhou City was stronger than that of an ordinary person who had lived here for half their life. It was not easy for an ordinary person to deceive him. The Iron Guard, Ding San, was surprised. Oh, I'll go and report to Lord Nan and have him get an explanation from the provincial governor. Just then, a black light flashed across the sky. Nan Fubo and Master Fayan chased after it. However, the black light was as fast as lightning and, after a few flickers, shook them off. Bai Yu flew up and chased after Nan Fubo and the others. What happened? Nan Fubo's face was dark. Zhou Wufu escaped. Bai Yu was shocked. How could he have escaped? He was sealed, and both of you were there. Why did he still escape? Nan Fubo lowered his head. I had just interrogated him and found out the location of a demonic cultivator's stronghold. I was about to come and discuss it with you. But a prison guard in the jail suddenly threw a talisman at Zhou Wufu. Gangqi erupted from Zhou Wufu's dantian, and he transformed into a bat, wrapped in a black qi, and broke through the air to escape. Bai Yu frowned. That shouldn't be. I've already destroyed his dantian and dispersed his Gangqi. What about the prison guard? Master Fayan said, it was this poor monk who was guarding him. After the prison guard acted, this poor monk immediately captured him. But it was too late. He directly bit through his teeth and committed suicide by poison. At this moment, Taoist Yin also arrived. After hearing their story, his expression changed drastically. What should we do now? We finally caught a culprit, and he escaped. Now the clues are broken again. It will be even harder to deal with those demonic cultivators. For a moment, they were all speechless. Nan Fubo gritted his teeth. This time, it was my negligence. I will report it to my master and ask for punishment. But what should we do now to deal with those demonic cultivators? Taoist Yin and Master Fayan looked at each other and both shook their heads. The most difficult thing now was that the enemy was in the dark and they were in the open. It was like a dog trying to bite a turtle. No way to start. At this moment, Bayou smiled faintly. It's fine.
Wu Fu can't escape. Bayou never left only one way out.
When he sealed Zhou Wufu, he had already considered what to do if he escaped. So he had placed a feng shui mark in Zhou Wufu's mansion in advance. If he didn't escape, he could naturally interrogate him and find out the enemy's lair. If he did escape, he could take the opportunity to cast a long line and catch a big fish. Bayou shouted, Xiaonan, bring all the constables and surround the Zhou mansion. No one is allowed to enter or leave. I will have Lao Mo stay here to guard it.
The odor cultivator, follow me.
He gave his orders decisively and then took the lead, shooting into the air. Bayou pretended to brandish a searching spiritual talisman, but he was actually activating his feng shui eye and remotely sensing the feng shui mark on Zhou Wufu. Not long after, he chased him to a valley. In the valley was an old house that looked like it had been uninhabited for a long time. Bayou's nose twitched, and he activated his spirit-calling brush. As expected, he found Zhou Wufu's aura. It was still fresh. Bayou said, according to the spiritual talisman sensing, Zhou Wufu is in that house. Daoistine heard this and said, let me force them out. He waved his hand, and a dozen talismans flew out. Huge fiery meteors rained down, smashing the old house into ruins. From the ruins, several streams of black qi shot into the air. A man and a woman, two foundation-building demonic cultivators, led 3 qi refining disciples and the escaped Zhou Wufu, who was being carried by a qi refining demonic cultivator. The female foundation-building cultivator was an ugly woman, with an ugly face and a body full of fat. The male cultivator was handsome and extraordinary, with a head of white hair that added a bit of Tungsong to his appearance. When Daoistine saw them, he shouted, white-haired demoness. So it's you too, Niezhang. The white-haired male cultivator's eyes shot out a sinister green light. I didn't expect you to find us so quickly. I didn't want to offend Yuanfu Temple and Puhua Temple, but since you're looking for death, we, husband and wife, will have to kill you. With that, he brandished a white bone ring and charged over. The ugly female demonic cultivator took a string of white bone prayer beads from her neck. The white bone prayer beads transformed into a dozen skeletons, bearing their fangs and claws, and charged at Bayou and the others. Bayou and the others were naturally not to be outdone and counterattacked with their own magic treasures. In an instant, the white-haired demoness and her husband were beaten back. If not for a joint secret art they might have been killed on the spot. This battle revealed the difference in their strength. The individual combat power of the white-haired demoness and her husband was about the same as Daoist-in and Master Fan. But Nan Fubo was a cut above them. Disciples of large sects had better magic treasures and cultivation techniques. Nan Fubo was holding back a breath, determined to take down these 2 demonic cultivators to wash away his previous mistake. He waved his hand and brandished a pagoda-shaped magic treasure. A golden pagoda rumbled and rose, growing to a height of 10 yards. With a single strike, it sent the white-haired demoness and her husband's white bone magic treasures flying. The white-haired demoness and her husband hurriedly joined forces to escape. But their disciples were not so lucky. They, along with Zhou Wufu, were smashed into meat paste. Nan Fubo pressed his advantage and commanded the pagoda to chase after the white-haired demoness. Bayou, seeing him so brave, was happy to hide his strength. He just released a top-grade flying sword, Kanjan, and at the same time, kept checking the surroundings with his feng shui eye and spirit-calling brush to confirm there were no other ambushes. For a time, the white-haired demoness and her husband were in a precarious situation, on the verge of defeat. At this moment, the demoness suddenly let out a shrill roar.
Good son, kill them.
With that, she actually grabbed her stomach with both hands and tore it open. A baby crawled out of her belly. The baby was covered in blood, its eyes were blood red, and it had 2 rows of fine, sharp teeth. Bayou frowned. He sensed demonic qi on this baby. This was a red demon. Kill them! The ugly female demonic cultivator roared, pointing at Bayou and the others. The infant demon spirit in front of her transformed into a bloody light and pounced over. A high-grade red demon. This was their biggest trump card. Demonic beasts were inherently ferocious and strange, their strength surpassing cultivators of the same rank. The infant demon spirit let out a sharp cry and transformed into a bloody light, charging straight at them. Bayou formed a sword seal.
TB Sword Light. A 10-yard long white sword light shot out.
The sword light smoothly slashed at the infant red demon, directly cutting it into several pieces of flesh. But the next moment, those pieces of flesh quickly reassembled and healed. Not only that, they absorbed part of the energy of the Tai-Bai sword light, and their aura became even stronger. A red demon was truly a red demon. No matter how the cultivators attacked, even if they blasted it into a pile of meat paste, it could still quickly recover. And its attacks were incredibly sharp. With a single swipe of its seemingly slender hand, it shattered Master Fan's Zen staff. With the addition of this red demon, the demonic cultivator side actually turned the tide. The ugly female demonic cultivator laughed heartily.
Good son, well done.
Kill them. Mommy will make you 100 more meatballs, all from unborn tender meat. The infant red demon became even more ferocious. It broke through their defenses several times. Bayou frowned and took out his purple profound bow. Swish.